Hello and welcome to the Last Word on Spurs, your award-winning Tottenham Hotspur podcast. We are back. What a crazy game we've just witnessed. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're listening to the show for the first time, where have you been? We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're across all major audio platforms. We're of course on X, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook too, and we are here. God, if that wasn't Ange, well, what was Ange? Well, we are reliving an absolutely insane 96 and a bit minutes, which sees Tottenham Hotspur secure a draw at the home of the champions. Joining me on this Last Word on Spurs, look, it is your regular panel here that you call them the A-team. Well, we've got them back together for this one here on Last Word on Spurs. Alongside me, one of all Patrick Tyrant's back. Pat, how are you, my man? Crazy scenes. You would have thought we won the game, given the reaction, but a draw at the home of the champions, depleted squad. Add some out for you, Pat.
Oh, I'm over the moon, man. And good evening. Good evening, everyone. Everyone tuning in. Listen, F the celebration police. Celebrate how you want. They written us off. They said we were going to get spanked. I was seeing 4-1s, 5-1s, 6-1s. We were depleted. We were down and out, and we got something out of that game. And with a little bit more nous, we could have even, snuck a win. I'm excited. I'm happy, man. The one game out of the 4 that you wouldn't expect anything out of, and we did it. And it stopped the rot. It lifts the mood, and hopefully we can go into the next set of fixtures feeling refreshed and the monkey's off our back, and we can start picking up points. Well, we picked up a point, picking up wins again. But yeah, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. And yeah, shout out to everyone here. Lee, Crackers, Ricky. It's going to be a good one. I can feel it.
It is indeed. Look, before we get into the game, let's ask the panel how they are, if they've settled down yet. One man that had to take some form of recovery. You told me before, having got the wonderful Richard Cracknell back. Cracks. How are you, my man? You okay?
Wow, Rick. Just wow. Listen, there's 115 reasons why we shouldn't win there today at Man City. 115 reasons why not. But we'd even get anything out of there. But do you know what, Rick? Over anything else, we've got to 94, 95 minutes, and Ange Postecoglou sends on Jamie Donnelly. Sends on a kid in that. He might have had 5 or 6 minutes left. Now, 5 or 6 minutes at this level for a kid of his age is a lifetime, an absolute lifetime, and he sends him on. What a brave manager. He is absolutely brave. Tottenham today, wow. Not just Tottenham, the away fans all the way through the game, unbelievable. You could hear them singing all the way throughout the game today. As always, our away fans, unbelievable. Gone up there, Arctic conditions, and up they've gone, and Spurs have done that. I'm struggling. I am literally struggling, Rick, for words for what we've done today. A scratch team has gone now and done that. Wow. No,
I totally agree. Look, we are going to get into the game. Before we do, I've kept this man waiting deliberately to last because he was bursting to come on during the week after he despised the fact that we were questioning the style of play. And I've made him wait now even longer for his say. It could only be the conductor instructor, the run of our crazy train. Back, I did that on purpose. How are you, my man? You okay?
Mate, I love you, man. Look, I tell you, I mean, I dubbed this football club crazy train when we sacked Poch, and then 12 hours later we appointed Marina. I said, look, man, this is a crazy train, but I'm not. I think this might be the crazy train era right here, right now. And for those of you in the WhatsApp group, you know full well that I predicted a loss. I did predict a 4-3 loss today, and I'm delighted that didn't happen. But I knew there was going to be goals, like most people. And look, you brought that up, Rick, not me. I'm happy to take that off a line. But you know, the reality is, people, not just individuals. We had a big ding dong in the WhatsApp group about pragmatic and changing of style, and the amount of questions Ange Postecoglou has had to field this week in the press conference, journo after journo. Surely you're going to have to change. Surely you're going to have to change. No, I'm not changing. No one's listening. No one's listening to him. He ain't changing. He didn't change. In actual fact, if any of you just call the post-match interview with Kulusevski, he basically just said the manager had a proper go at them at half-time because they weren't playing the way they wanted to play. They've come out in the second half. They've played handball, and they were brilliant. to be fair. So look, I know we're going to get into it and actually I've got some unbelievable stats. They are literally unbelievable today in the Blue Book against the two fixtures, but you can see them a little bit hoarse. I celebrated that team, and we're team, everybody, viewers and listeners, I celebrated that like the four. Well, I don't even know what the result was actually in the quarter-final of the Champions League. Did we ended up losing that game, didn't we? But we went through. It's 4-3. I can't remember. But I celebrated that today like that game, and it was, mate, bring it on. That is what football's all about, and I absolutely love it. We could have won it as well right at the end. We had a little tickle, didn't we? I mean, my word. And what I quickly would say, we've gifted them 2 goals. Like, I know Doku, like, hit the bar and then they hit the post as well, but we gifted them 2 goals, a bloody own goal. And, I mean, that's Bissouma. What are you doing, man? I'm sure we'll get into it, but gifted 2 goals. This is my summary of it for me quickly. Toe-to-toe at their place with the treble winners with a second-string Tottenham side. That's how you play Ange ball, people.
That's mad, isn't it? It is crazy. Cracks, I'm going to come around you to start things off. Tottenham, as Lee eloquently put, rocking up to the Etihad without both first-choice centre-backs, 2 first-choice midfielders, and a handful of real preferred bench options missing, scoring 3 goals, coming over a point. And Spurs are only the second team to leave the Etihad Stadium with a point across all competitions in 2023. Try and sum up, Rich, if you can, that performance, that effort from the team, where Ange stuck to his principles as he said he would beforehand, didn't wilter. I just sum up for you, Cracks.
Rick, I don't know if he's mad or genius. But they say there is a small line between mad and genius, isn't there? And look, I just keep going back to what we've got to put up with for the last 5 years with Mourinho and Conte, and now all of a sudden along comes Ange Postecoglou, and he's not shifting for no one, is he? He is not shifting for no one. During this week, as Lee said, we've had some discussions on our WhatsApp group about trying to be a little bit pragmatic, maybe trying to see games out a little bit, and we've had a little bit of back and forth, and I can see Lee's side of the argument, and I can see the other side of the argument of maybe just trying to be a little bit different. And you look at today and you go, nah, I'm fully in. You just got to go fully in with Ange. You really have to. Now, the players are, obviously, because like we've sent a team of reserves out there today and gone and done that. Now imagine if we get the full squad back and a couple, 2-3 additions in the January window. Let's hope. I just hope that the board now see this and go, blimey, we've got something here, haven't we? If we give him 2 or 3 options to bring off the bench, to come on, to do this, to do that. It's nuts, Rick. But this is why the Premier League is the most watched league in the world. This is why it is the most watched league in the world. It's not the best, far from the best technically, but it really is the most watchable league in the world. And to go there and do that today with the team we've put out it's just incredible. It is absolutely incredible. You only have to look at the end of the game. Haaland's got his hair band out. He's absolutely raging. The Man City are all over the place. They're going nuts. They were rattled, absolutely rattled today by a team of reserves. Listen, people, we've got no right to live with Man City. Absolutely no right whatsoever. None at all. None at all. Now, this will play itself out in the courtrooms and everything, and I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, exactly, Rick. I'll give you no lawsuits. I've got family in law. Okay, so I know I had to tread carefully here. All right, look. There's things stacking up against Man City at the moment, and they may well be innocent, but they've got to go to court to actually explain themselves of how they're running their club. Daniel Levy and Tottenham are currently, apart from one issue, flicking cards into a top hat and the way they're running the club. Yeah, we're running it. You only have to look at the way that Spurs are run at the moment, and we're pretty solid. We're pretty solid. So look, we've come up against a giant, an absolute behemoth of football, like for what they've got in finances and everything, and the players they can bring in. And we've gone now, and
Crackers,
like
say that word again. I absolutely love it. Say it again.
a behemoth. It's a behemoth, isn't it? They are a behemoth. They're huge. They are absolutely huge. They just knock everybody out of the park, like it within regards to what they can bring to the game financially. And we all know that the game apparently is a financial thing now. If you can throw the most money at it, you can make the most stick against the wall. And we've gone there today. Little old Tottenham, he says with his tongue in his cheek. And look, because of a manager that's gelled everybody together, gelled a squad together, gelled players together that are going to get nowhere near this first team eventually. And he's done that. He's done that today. It's unbelievable. We have got something here. We absolutely have. Maybe not now, maybe not this season, but there is something with Ange Postecoglou to cling on to. He is the life raft. He is the life raft that we've got to climb into. We have to. We've got to back him. We absolutely have to back him. Every decision he makes. And it scares the life out of me. It scares the life out of a lot of Spurs fans. He's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then he does like today, and you go, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's mad, but it's also genius. Madness and genius, Rick.
It is indeed. I mean, Pat, to bring you in, look, 3 goals against Man City Etihad with 6 starters unavailable. You know, you can be anything but proud of this team with all those players out at the home of the champions. What a result. I mean, look, I think you've got to admire the bravery and the attacking attitude shown, which I know for many is so refreshing and so enjoyable to watch. And in previous occasions that we've gone to City and won, but not in a style of coming away with a point there. And dare I say, you know, to come away in those circumstances, Pat, going toe-to-toe, how proud does that make you as a Spurs fan?
Yeah, I mean, there's a fine line between insanity and genius, and we literally towed that line on so many occasions today. And, you know, at 3-2, with a couple minutes, I was really frustrated, but still proud. I was like, you know what, we gave it a crack. No one expected us to get anything out today. You know, frustrated, but cool, we'll live to fight another day. And then Brennan Johnson whipped in that cross, and Kulu met it with his head/shoulder, beat the keeper, and I went crazy. I celebrated because I was like, against all the odds, literally no one expected us to do anything. And everyone to a T, you know, put in a shift today. Some of the players aren't good enough, and we can see that. Emerson Royal, for me, just isn't good enough to do the simple things, like when we're trying to play out from the back and he keeps losing the ball and, you know, divering and getting caught and stuck in possession and all of that stuff. But we stuck to our principles and stuck to his principles. And like Crackers were saying, they kept pestering him throughout the week to say he's going to change and do something different. And we did it. And at the end of the day, even in the games where we haven't picked up results, you can see what we're doing. And today we got something out of it. And yeah, I'm proud, man. I'm happy. And it just goes to show, because some of the fan base was starting to wither and starting to wilt. And we've all got to stay strong. It's not going to be easy. Like, even if we had our full 11, we could have went there today and still lost that game. Even if we had our full 11 against Villa or any team, you can still lose a game. It's not a guarantee that you're going to get 3 points regardless of the team that you got out there. But to do it in that sort of circumstance is amazing. And Kulusevski, for me, he's relentless. He's a machine. He's always willing to do, you know, he's always willing to get on the ball. And yeah, and he's now, for me, I'm so happy because he's starting to provide goals and assists, because all of the other stuff is brilliant. But people will say, you know, what's the output? What's the end product? And he's doing that. Brennan Johnson, end product as well. He got an assist. Sonny, goal and assist. Yeah, I'm just so happy. I mean, Vicario, another good performance. All of the goals weren't his fault. And Yeah, I'm just happy, man. I'm happy. And I want to reiterate what Crackers and I think Lee said. I think the travelling fans today were amazing. So if you listen to this tomorrow or later tonight, give yourself a round of applause because we could hear you over all of their guys and we could hear you all match long. And I think that's amazing because you guys were definitely the 12th man and it really helped. We were up against the odds. Everyone wrote us off. You saw Roy Keane at halftime. I thought it was so cheeky what he said. He didn't want to give us any praise and he's like, oh, yeah, they're playing all right, but it could be 4 or 5-1 if they're not careful. I was like, wow, that's so cheeky because if a team was to go there and camp and sit behind the ball, you would get onto them. When the team wants to go and play attacking football and exert themselves on the game, you still get onto them. So you can't win. You know, they build you up to break you down. But I thought the guys were brilliant. And of course, when we get better players and players back, we'll be even better. But the fact that we had a centre-back partnership with Emerson Royal and Ben Davis, and we still got something out of that game, I'm gobsmacked.
Patrick, let me tell you, it's 27 degrees here today. I've got shorts and t-shirt on. I've just been loping about in the sun. Absolutely lovely. And I've seen Manchester today. It's like -5. It looks absolutely terrible weather. And when I saw that away end, I thought to myself, I wish I was there. I wish I was there. And that tells you everything, doesn't it, Patrick, Rick? Like if you're just sat in the sun and you think to yourself, oh man, I wish I was there today in that absolute freezing cold and sideways rain. Tells you everything. That's the draw of football, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, listen, again, it's one of those games that it's what you'd pay to be at for those priceless moments of seeing the Spurs limbs going absolutely insane. Lee, I want to bring you in because credit where credit's due. These players, they grew into the game. They most certainly, look, they took away a deserved point from a very, very difficult place. And I think the quote of our own Jason McGovern, City away, -10, trailing twice to still get a result. Spurs, the most away points in the Premier League, more points for these Pep than any other Premier League team. Many might call Spursy, but the foundations there have been truly built now for Thursday and beyond. Romero to come back into the team. Just how importantly could that point be in the nature of where this season goes? It feels a massive, massive point when you consider the difference between what a loss would have done 4 on the bounce and to get a point up at the Etihad, champions, depleted squad. It feels like it's a big, big result there for the squad.
Yeah, I think it's bigger than the point. Do you get what I'm saying? I do. I generally think it is. I think I agree with Pat. There were lots of fans. Some of you and me, Rick, we had our ding dong in the week or whatever about pragmatic versus non-pragmatic. I've had that in other groups on my thing, in other WhatsApp groups. I have a chat. It's just pub chat, man. It's good debate, brilliant debate. But the facts are that we've gone there toe to toe with a second string side and done the business. And we could have lost, but we could have won. Basketball, proper basket case. Some of these stats are absolutely ridiculous. I know you're probably going to put the stats up later, but before you do, I just want to read out a set of statistics for you just quickly. So Tottenham possession at 42%, shots on target 3, shots overall 9, passes 424, clearances 30. That was last season when we had a full team and we lost 4-2. Can you believe that? Right? These ones this season, possession not much different, 45%. Shots on target slightly higher. Shots in total slightly higher by 1 or 2. Passes 465 versus your 424 from last season. So not much different. The major difference is when we're brave, you get a result. When you step in, you lose 4-2. And that for me is the biggest telling thing. And actually, if we're not brave today, we probably go, do you know what? 3-2 ain't a bad result at the Etihad. We got our second string out. We probably, like it's okay. But we carried on. And because we carried on, we got the equaliser. And arguably we had a little sniff at a winner down there. So I also want to give you some stats as well. Sorry, stack me up and then I'll talk about the game. Against Chelsea, we had 5 shots on target. 5 shots on target against Chelsea. Over 600 passes. We had 9 men for most of the game. Against Villa, we had 8 shots on target. I mean, how the hell we have not won that game? I wasn't there last year. I had to work, but watched it back. And obviously, when you watch a game back, you would know the result. You've got no emotion in it. It's such a difference, isn't it? I know, you lads watch the games back. I'm sure the viewers and listeners do as well. But actually, when you're watching the game back with no emotion in it, you see different things. I cannot believe how we didn't win that game last week. And 8 shots on target. Today, we've gone to City, had 4 shots on target. All them passes I talked about, only 100 passes less than City. This is Man City's treble winners at home. Yeah, with Haaland, with Doku, with Grealish. They've got a couple of injury problems. KDB, who they got at the back, Diaz. I mean, this is unbelievable. We only had 100 passes less than them, as an example. 4 shots on target. Front foot, attacking football, bravery to dare us to do. Absolutely loving it. The game that I haven't highlighted, if you remember from the last 4, is the Wolves game, right? Where most people will tell me, put it in the chat, at me if you want, let's go, that we did not play Ange ball against Wolves. Would we agree, that panel? Just nod your heads or say yes.
Absolutely, yeah, agree.
Did not play Ange ball against Wolves. How many shots on target against Wolves? 2. Did we win the game? No, we lost. And that's my point. So the fact that we're entertaining, the fact that we feel like that we're more open, the fact that we've got 2 fullbacks playing centre-back that, quite frankly, none of us would pick, but we have to pick them, and we're still creating them chances and doing what we're doing is actually quite flabbergasting. And I think if you was to, like the Arsenal fans and whatever, they start putting in field tilt and all this absolute garbage crap that's about, we won the field tilt. Well, if you put extra points in for bravery, for effort, for deserving something at any of them games, we'd have had extra points. And that is down to the manager, and that is down to a cultural change at this football club. And it's really about time that we started to believe that we can do something special. And I am going to give him a shout out, Dave Ellis, on X, he's a bit of a friend of the show and stuff, and he put a tweet out saying very, very similar to what you just said, Crackers. It may be not today, it might not even be this season, but we have got something here, and we have to get behind that and crack on, because it is something special is happening here, and you've got to savor these moments. It feels like Poch 2.0, but a better version of that. Does that make sense? And I'm all for it, mate. I'm absolutely excited. Am I getting carried away with a 3-3 celebration, please? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but it was a massive result for us, because, like you said, Rick, to go 4 on the bounce, that's tough. Even though I'd accepted it, in me personally, that's just me as a fan, I'd have accepted, okay, we're going to lose today, but we're going to be okay in the long run. Now, to go into the Thursday game under the lights against West Ham, that gaff is going to be rocking, and I am all for it, and I can't wait. And I'm happy to bookmark this. I don't think we'll lose another game this year in 2024. I don't think we'll lose another game. And that's how, because I honestly, I'm not saying we're going to go and lead. I know that you want me to say that, right? But I'm not going to say we're going to lead. But I just think this is how big it was today, Rick. I think it was that big because the belief in the players that actually I can do it. And so many people are saying Davis can't play this football, Emerson can't play this football, Pierre can't play this football, but they are playing it. Right? I'm not saying they're as good as the ones that are out, but they are playing it. And against Villa, we absolutely played Ange ball. And today we played Ange ball. Maybe not in the first half. Decky comes out in his post-match interview and says, Gaffer had a go at us. We've got to play our way. We played it in the second half. What happens? We get the draw. So I'm delighted, Rick, to be fair.
On that point, I've got to say, I think, again, it's been a massive topic of debate, not just on only our podcast, a lot of different media outlets, different podcasts out there about the style of play. And the thing is, Cracks, the whole game Spurs were told by some outlets, to not play Ange ball. We get battered. We walked out over a draw. I just wonder, Cracks, is this now, on the back of that result today, evidence that, look, we're going to have to dig in. We're going to have to stick with Ange and ignore all the noise until, as we know, the players are going to come back. Because if you can't see what he's trying to do here, you're foolish, right? You can clearly see what this man is trying to create.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, very much so, Rick. He's got one way of playing, and that's it. Long term, does that work? I don't know, but I'm willing to go with it. I'm absolutely willing to go with it. Ange Postecoglou might have painted himself into a corner a little bit, because he's come out all guns blazing and gone, no, mate, this is the way I play. This is what I do. And I don't know. Sometimes just maybe, he might need to just tone it down a little bit. And look, if you go into the casino and you're putting £1,000 on black every time, £1,000 black, £1,000 black, £1,000 black. If it comes up black every time, you're going home with a lot of money. Sometimes you might just want to go £900 black and £100 on evens. Just a little bit, just a little touch on something else, just to give you a little bit of something else. Do you know what I'm saying? He's just... So, look, I'm all in for Ange. I absolutely love him, but I don't know. This is a Premier League. He's managed in Japan.
Just come in with you there, Craig. We got to stop. I know it feels like I'm having a go at you. I'm not having a go at you, but we got to stop saying that we're all in on Ange, but because you're not all in if you're butting. Belief system does not work like that. You don't believe something and then try and change it. That's not how it works. It's not. And you said on the show last week, why do you have to be all in, all out? Because that is belief. If I believe that we should play this way, I am going to play this way. That is the way. And I've just read out 4 statistics since we've had all these injuries and suspensions. And the game that we did not play that way, we were shit and we lost. And by the way, we were 1-0 up in the 92nd minute and we still lost the game because we were pragmatic and defending.
Okay.
And just quickly, just on that, because today City in the first half, as an example, I think we were deeper. I don't think we played a high line in City in the first half. I do think that we changed it a little bit and whatever. And he still weren't happy. And when he had a go at them and changed it, we were brilliant in the second half. So I just think that there's in the belief thing, you'll know better than I do, Crackers, mate, because you know the stuff. But if you actually believe something, it's pointless. Keep asking Ange to change because he's not going to, because he believes this is the way to play football. If we don't like it, that's fine. That's our opinion, but he ain't going to change. So these journalists keep asking, "You're going to change?"
Listen, I'm 100% in on him. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love him. He's the Tottenham way. He absolutely is the Tottenham way. But if for his own sake, I'm just saying, sometimes he may need to just tone it down a little bit and just say, okay, today, if we're playing Bournemouth at home or something, then Ange ball all the way. But if we get to where we need to get to, and you've got Real Madrid away in the quarterfinals of the Champions League or the like, then maybe there's just a little bit of edges, just some of the edges that need to be knocked off of Ange ball. I'm not asking him to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm just asking him, sometimes you may need to just waver a little bit from that philosophy. Just a touch.
Crackers,
Just a touch. I'm not talking about every game. I absolutely love him, but just sometimes you might need to go, oh, hang on, we're 2-1 up. It's the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We're away to Real Madrid. Can I bring on X and take off Y? That is it. It's only tiny little chips off of Ange ball. But I'm nervous that going forward, he's painted himself into such a caricature of himself that he'll go, oh, I can't do that because the press will kill me. If I take him off and bring him on, they'll go, oh, that wasn't what you said you was going to do. So do you see what I'm just trying to say? I just want some smoothing of the edges with him, just some little bits, because at the moment he's all in on black, or he's all in on red, or he's all in on evens, and he's all in on odds. And sometimes I want him to go, 90%. Like when he put, if he's got 100 quid in the casino, maybe sometimes, just sometimes, in certain games and certain positions, go, okay, hang on, 90 quid on red, 10 quid on black. That's all I want from him.
Can I just say something quickly? I think Crackers, I get what you're saying, but I do think the media persona and his on-pitch attitude and mentality show that he is willing to do that. Because look at half-time today, Brian Gill, an attacking outlet, wasn't good enough, and he took him off and brought on Højbjerg. So he did kind of change his principles to a degree, because Højbjerg is obviously a more defensive-suited, more possession-based, where we're going to be a bit more essentially nullify them and build up, and he did that, and it works because we got something out of the game. So he does do that, but I know what you mean. Sometimes the media persona is so far up there, he can't come down a bit. So he does need to manage that, because otherwise they're just going to keep gunning for him, and that's what they're doing at the moment. They're just
tripling down, Crackers is tripling down the media.
So I think he does do that already. He's literally doing that. But I agree. Sometimes he's got to tone it down in his press conferences. But that's
thank you. But yeah, that is him. But it's also like the press are actually building him up a bit, so that when he does fall off of his perch, they can absolutely smash him. They can smash him to pieces, because he'll go, oh, that didn't work, and they can get 4 or 5 pages out of it why that's not working. So I just need a little bit to just a little bit come down and take the pressure off of himself almost. That's all I'm saying with Ange. But
probably two things. I think the strategy, so the higher piece, the bit up here, the strategy is to play Ange ball, but then tactically in games, he's got to move it up or change it up or whatever. You can't. I don't think we were gung ho today. I don't think we were gung ho against Villa, to be fair. I mean, you could argue that we were a little bit gung ho against Chelsea with 9 men, but I was in the stadium like most, and I gave them all a standing ovation. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. The game that we wasn't gung-ho whatsoever, and we were doing a complete opposite to Ange ball, was against Wolves, and we were absolute shite. So long may that continue, that we play the way we are. But look, that's Rick, why we love football. That's why we love. Just quickly,
the problem you've got is if you turn around and you go, I don't like carrots. Everybody now turns around and says, why don't you like vegetables? So no. I love broccoli, I love cauliflower, I love green beans, I love peas, I love corn. I just don't quite like carrots. And then everybody goes, oh, you don't like vegetables. That's the problem you've got today. You can kind of go in a little bit, but everybody goes, oh, you hate all vegetables, don't you? Because you don't like carrots, you don't like vegetables. And that's the problem you've got. So I'm just asking, please, just a little bit. Press conferences and what he actually does, as Patrick says, maybe 2 different things. He can change it up a little bit, but yeah, carrots and vegetables, Rick.
Tell you what, said it on this show, the nutritionist angle. There you go. Don't say we don't try and cover you on this show. We do it
5 a day on this show.
You know it, right? Can I just say one thing? I mean, and then many people picking up on the fact that the co-coms today, for those that are in the UK, we've got a lot of wonderful Australian and American listeners all over the world. We have got amazing support. But the UK over here, we had Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher on the co-coms for Sky Sports. Now, at one point they said, and I agree with this point, they're sure enough to go and win it, but they're also sure enough to go and lose it. Yep, that's us. I mean, Matt is welcome to Tottenham. I think the one point that I think was really starting to grate on people, and I'll get your opinion on this, Lee, is that Neville and Carragher at one point said, it's a madness, it's sabotage, it's naive. They're behind twice with less than half the first team out, including almost all your key players, and you play like that. Then they switch their opinion towards the end of the game and say, it's absolutely magnificent. I mean, I know football and the moments in games dictate results, but have you ever seen such a full-on 180 switch from what it was in the first half to the end of the game?
Because I ain't going back to the WhatsApp group chat. But yeah, look, that's the thing. That's the thing. Look, to be fair, in fairness, that's football. We'd have been doing a very different show tonight, wouldn't we, if we'd have lost that game? If Decky hadn't equalised and we'd lost it 3-2, there would be some different tone in all of our voice. Our mood would be different. We'd have lost. So it's an emotional game. It's what we love. It's why we love it. So yeah, probably. I mean, I think, look, for me, I love this. You know, so many people have written it in the chat, and for our listeners as well. Like, to dare is to do, as people are saying it. That is our motto, and this guy is literally living and breathing it. And now we're worrying that why are we daring? Why are we doing? The thing is, what I love about today so much, and this is what I was saying to you earlier, Rick, you said about, is it a big point? For me, it's bigger than a point, because we did dare and we did do with a second string. We still went toe to toe, and we were really, really brave, and we got something at the champions. That's huge. We're not talking about Luton away. Great respect to Luton, even down to 10 men. We're not talking about a valiant effort at home to Chelsea with 9 men. We're talking about full-on Man City going at you, and we went at them as well. And they're going to be in that dressing room. And Pep, Cracker said it earlier, Haaland with his ponytail down and whatever. You could see they were completely rattled, because they know they've got other like Liverpool won today in the 88th and 89th minute classic. Arsenal have won. They're top of the league, all that stuff. City are chasing now, and that point keeps us not in the title hunt, but it keeps us in and around the places that we want to be. Does that make sense? So it was massive. I think we're just going to have to get used to. Look, I don't think with Cara and Nev, G-Nev and whatever, I don't think they don't like us. I think the opposite. I actually think they're loving it. I think the media are loving it. Everyone's loving Big Ange. So I just think we're just going to have to take that with a pinch of salt, Rick, to be honest, mate, and just concentrate on ourselves. We've got some winnable games coming up, tough games still, but we've got some winnable games coming up because they're at home. So let's just go on with them, boys, and viewers.
Absolutely. Look, I totally agree. I mean, just on Ange, obviously in the post-match, which again has always sparked lots of reaction with Ange, he said after the game there would be probably only a few words I can say. Joking aside, it was more to try and get the players to believe in themselves rather than anger at them when he refers to the half-time team talk. I'm always mindful of that. From where I am on a touchline, it seems simple, but out there, it's an unbelievable team and it is difficult. It was a case of whatever happens, I will take responsibility, particularly if it doesn't go well. But just go out there and believe in yourselves. He was asked how he reacts to tougher periods. And he said, look, it depends how measured you are in the course of the season. We stuck to our guns and our beliefs, and we aren't out of the tough period yet. We're going to be going into the thick of it come January, but it's how you react, and that is important what we're trying to build. First half, we were lucky to still be in it. City could have blown us away with the chances they had. We didn't seem to believe in ourselves and kept giving the ball away. Sometimes when you don't take your chances, you're punished. We needed to calm down at half-time, and the effort in the second half was excellent. We made it uncomfortable for City the whole second half, scored 3 quality goals. I'm so pleased with the players for the effort they put in. I always feel that if you're going to get through these tough periods in the manner, it's important you stay true to the team you want to be, then you come out of it stronger. Irrespective of the knocks you get along the way. Ange on the team situation said, we've got a fairly tough extreme time at the moment. We'll get Romero back. We've missed him. Richarlison got some game time. Perhaps I will have him back by the end of the week, but the rest won't be back for a while. As we get players back, I'm confident we'll pick up some momentum and we can battle with anyone. I mean, I must just say, guys, on that point, we've got to go for a break in a second. But Cracks, look, we've gone to City under Conte, under Mourinho, and the reversal of fixtures and got results. But look, we come away today with a point, and just hearing a manager say after the game, he wants more, he demands more. Just how lovely is that, Cracks, to hear a Tottenham manager not settling for second best and imploring the fact we can, want, and push for more.
Rick, it's lovely to hear. It's absolutely lovely to hear. He wants Tottenham to be the best version of what they can be. He knows, he's seen this fan base, he's seen this club, he's seen what it can be, and he wants to take it there. It's as simple as that. He just wants to take it there. He wants to take this journey with us. We're with him. He's with us. And if he can get all his players back, I just kept watching the game today, Rick, and thinking to myself, imagine if we had Maddison in the middle. Imagine if we had Sarr. Imagine if we had Romero. Imagine if we had Mickey van der Ven in the middle there today.
Do this to us, crackers.
But that's what I'm saying. Can you imagine if we'd have actually gone toe to toe with them today with our full squad and our full team? It would have just been, it'd have been unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable today. So look, that's what I keep saying. We've absolutely got something. We have got something. Get a couple of more, couple of like players in January if we can to bolster the squad, and we have got something. We really have got something. We might have to start small. We've drawn Burnley today in the cup. I don't know if you're
Don't get me started. Don't get me started. We will come on to that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm like.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Exactly.
Biggest game of the season. Biggest game of the season. You heard it here first.
Rick, you joke, but it is.
It is the biggest game of the season.
Actually, is. It's the biggest game of the season.
Crackers, I love you. You know I'm bloody not joking.
No. But I want to see us go deep into a cup. That's
Absolutely.
what I want to see.
Yep.
Give them players just a taste of some success.
Absolutely.
And then after that, boys, go again. Again. Now,
totally agree.
After this cup, now you know what it feels like to get over the line. Go again. Go and hunt Man City down, Liverpool down, Arsenal down in the league. But you just build up and you just give a little taste. So come January the 5th, I think we played them, didn't we?
5th of the weekend to the 5th of the 6th. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, right. So no excuses. We've got no Europe. I want to see every player out there on the pitch, giving everything, going to the 4th round, the 5th round, the quarters, the semi, and go. Because this club, these fans, us fans, we deserve a day at Wembley. We absolutely deserve that day at Wembley in a cup final and go and pit ourselves against a team. And just to see Sonny go up there and lift a cup would just mean everything. Listen, it might not mean much to the club financially because the cups now, apart from the Champions League, the League Cup, the FA Cup, it ain't worth 2 bob financially to the clubs. But to us fans, it's billions. It's worth absolutely billions. And to players, it's worth a lot to actually go and do something. So this is what I want to see from us now, to actually go and do something and make all of this, what Ange is trying to do, worthwhile. Because you can talk about it in years to come with, you know, oh, we done this and we was this and we played this way and we done that. Maybe a little bit with your man at Chelsea now. I can't even remember his name.
Don't worry about it. No one else remembers.
Don't worry about him. But he won nothing, did he? He's dead. He's so dead to me, I can't even remember his name now. Oh yeah, that's right, Maurizio. He won nothing, did he? He won nothing. There's nothing in the club's history that says Maurizio Pochettino, manager that won this. He won nothing. He won nothing. You've got to actually get some silverware and get your name in the club's history. That's what you've got to do. So come Jan, I just want to see us do well in the FA Cup. Go on, go forward, and just give this club something to cling on to.
Yep, I totally agree. Cracks has done the FA Cup segment. There you go. Pat, we'll come around to you. Before we do go for our first break of the show, Sonny was asked after the game the feeling and what that result will mean for the dressing room. He said, look, of course, that's why we love football. That's what I told the lads. Obviously, Man City are a huge, huge team and one of the best teams in the world, but that is why we love football. It happens sometimes, but we kept believing until the 90-minute mark. So I'm very, very proud of this team. He followed that up on Instagram by saying we're a team of fighters. We showed our character, all fighting until the final whistle. An important point at a tough place to play. Pat, give me your thoughts on the feeling that must be around the dressing room, because, we touched on it very briefly there with Lee, that there would have been a massive difference in a minute and a half from 4 defeats in a row to then clinching a point away at the champions. Just psychologically, Pat, with what we've got to come over Christmas, busy period, cracks there brings into the equation the FA Cup. How important, Pat, do you feel that moment could be in Spurs' season? Because I don't think I'm underplaying. That could be a huge, huge moment in terms of where that could propel this Spurs team of players that are coming back into the focus now.
I think it's huge. It's massive. And you know what? Funny enough, shout out to one of my guys, Matthew Oates. He's always tweeting. He's a big watcher and fan of the show. He's always tweeting and basically tweeting in and commenting. And he said to me earlier today, have faith. I said, I wilted. I'm not going to lie. I thought that today was going to be too big of a test and we was absolutely going to get spanked, because I know Ange likes to play his way, and I'm all for it. I'm not one of these guys that is going to tell Ange to change the way he plays, because at the end of the day, everyone that comes in knows the way they've got to play and how we want to play. But I just thought with that partnership against a centre-back partnership against such good players like Haaland, Doku, Grealish, Silva, I thought we was going to just become basically a cropper. But shout out to the guys that believed, shout out to the fans, and ultimately the players as well. Because, like, for me, I don't want to dig Emerson Royal out, because I want to be positive, because it was a good team performance. But there are players that aren't really capable of playing the way we want to play, and they're making a few mistakes. Then we got guys like, obviously, Bissouma, who I think is fantastic. Such a good player, but the way he turned into danger and gave the ball away for their third goal, that was criminal. And thank God it wasn't Højbjerg or Skip that did that. Otherwise, there would literally be riots right now. Bissouma was good enough that he can get away with it. He's got a bit of grace and a bit of leeway, but that's not good enough regardless of how good you are.
He has got a bit of leeway or some credit in the bank, but I've got to say, what has happened to Bissouma since Luton red card?
Can I be honest? I want to come on to Bish shortly.
I definitely want to come on to
Bish. I promise you. We're going to cover that off in a separate segment. I promise you, Matt, we are.
Going back to Ricky's point, I think that is even though, again, celebration police, my Twitter's going off and there's so many people, it's only a point, you lot. I'm like, listen, no one expected us to get anything out of that. Everyone thought we was going to get spanked. All week they were clowning us, saying, if Ange doesn't change his way, he's going to get smashed, and all the stuff. You've seen it all over your social media. The fact that the players now, we've had a few rookie results, games that we should have won, we haven't. Games where we should have seen them out, i.e. Wolves away. You don't play well, but you're 1-0 up with a couple of minutes to go. You at least get a point, not drop points and end up losing the game. So there's these moments which can almost make you wither will and question yourselves. But today, to go literally the best team in Europe, they did a treble last season. They won the Champions League. They won the league. They're so good. And we went there and we stood tall. We didn't change our principles. We played the way we wanted to play, and we still got something out of it. And we were worthy. It wasn't lucky. Every goal we scored was a good goal, and we kept pushing. And yeah, I think that's going to give the fans, first and foremost, and the players so much belief that this is the right way to play. And yes, there may be bumps in the road. There will be a few, but again, without the injuries and suspensions, I generally believe, there was a comment earlier, I believe we would be top of the league right now. I genuinely believe that. That's not just me saying it. I really and truly believe that. And I do think, King Hoddle said that in the comments. King Hoddle. So shout out to King Hoddle. I don't think we'll win the league. I've said this all season, but I do think we'll definitely finish in the top 4. And I think when the players come back, it will give us a massive lift. Levy needs to invest in the squad in January. We know we're a bit short. We know where we need to address those problems. Give Ange what he needs, because you can see the guy's a quality manager. He's making players, he's making everyone better. He's making sure whoever comes in knows their roles, and the team is a team unit now. And I just think, going back to that is a fantastic and huge point. And it also stops the naysayers. It will stop the media asking these stupid and cheeky questions, because they can see that it's working. They can see what we're about. And if we can do it against Man City, they also said the same thing when we was going into the Arsenal game at the Emirates. They also said the same jargon. You lot will get smashed if you play like that, yada, yada, yada. 2 tough away games, and we've come out of there with something. So, yeah, hopefully they can stop the disrespect now and just appreciate what we're doing and allow us to go about our business.
Amen. Al Ben says, imagine this manager with better players. He says, this guy Ange is here to win the league. Look, I mean, again, you've got to say, when you go to the Champions and you put in that kind of performance, then why shouldn't fans have dream and ambition? I think, like Pat and Lee have alluded to, and King Hodder in the comments, it's such a shame that, again, we're in this period without what would be deemed as our best 11 available to us, because we never really would have known the true potential of what Tottenham could have done had those players become available. But the good news is those players are all on their way back. Dejan Kulusevski was asked that feeling of what it was like at half-time with Ange. He said, look, Ange was very, very angry at half-time. He told us, come on, guys, just play your football. The second half, we were unbelievable. What we are going to do, we are going to go for our first break of the show. For our listeners on audio, taking you into that break, you're going to hear from Spurs' duo, Kulusevski and Sonny are going to take you into that break, along with Ange Postecoglou, who give you their reaction to Spurs going up to the Etihad and taking a point. I've got to say, guys, thank you so much for all your support. There's a good 1,500 plus of you watching us live across all of our platforms on the award-winning Last Word on Spurs. Now, a brief reminder, if you do need one here, that we are delighted to be sponsored by NordVPN. You can use this code LWS to get yourself a huge discount, plus 1 month for free for Nord's 30-day back money guarantee. Look, we're building up to Christmas now. Many will be traveling in and around the world and the UK and overseas. You're going to need this code if you still want to watch your Premier League football beyond the UK and more. So go make sure you check out Nord. Always love having them push and sponsor this show. Right, we are going to get into the lineup. We've gone for a late break, so we are going to try and get the show back on track if we can. Macca, I'm going to fly around to you to discuss the lineup for this one. Now, what I will say, because I know Crackers will bring this up with me, the graphical lineup is in progress of being restored based on the business Tottenham do in the January transfer window. I had to get that in there because I know Crackers will be saying to me, why is Van der Ven not in the ghost mode? So I had to make that very, very clear. Macca,
I'm watching Rick. I'm watching Rick.
I know you are.
Let me see the lineup.
Macca, one change for Tottenham up against City up at the Etihad. We know Bentancur is going to be out now to February at the earliest after tearing those ankle ligaments. It meant the one change saw Spurs have Bissouma come back in from suspension. Pat Matassar, as we mentioned, still out of that hamstring injury, but Ange did seem to be confident that we'll have him back in the next week or two. Dejan Kulusevski, he continued in the midfield three. He was joined on, Richarlison was back and set since the training on Friday, so we saw him back amongst the squad. On the bench was youngster Diego Santiago for his second appearance in a matchday squad, alongside fellow academy youngsters Alfie Dorrington and Jamie Donnelly. That team led Vicario Porro, Emerson, Davis, Udogie, Kulusevski, Bissouma, Lo Celso, Johnson, Son, Hill, with a bench of Forster, Austin, Dorrington, Højbjerg, Skip, Santiago, Donnelly, Richarlison, Veliz. Lee, thoughts on that team when that came out?
Yeah, I thought it was exactly the team that he would pick based on obviously Bentancur's injury and Bissouma coming back in for essentially Bentancur. And it was the same team versus Villa. Like I said, I thought we were outstanding against Villa the other day, and on another day we go and win. We go and win that comfortably 4-5 with the amount of chances that we did create. So I thought that going up there, him being brave, all the stuff we've talked about, I thought it was the right team to pick. It's interesting actually because you look at some of the players that he's got to pick. Like what else can he actually do? Do you know what I mean? Like it is actually what I mean. I think Frank said it in the WhatsApp group, didn't he? This game, he's like, he's bringing on Skip. But what can he do? There's no one else that he can bring on in them scenarios. Like if you look at that bench, massive surprise at Richarlison. I mean, I have to give a big shout out to Richarlison quickly because I think that regardless of which way your bread's buttered with Richarlison, to have him back so quickly after what we thought might be another New Year injury has to be a plus, doesn't it, Rick? Has to be a positive for him to come back in the squad because you're looking at the bench and you're thinking, where's the creativeness coming from to change it up? Does that make sense? And obviously Donnelly today got a debut, absolutely magnificent. He's been so good for our under 21s and through the academy. So to get on the pitch, I know it was only for a couple of minutes to get on the pitch, was superb. But for me, I was happy. I was excited. I was happy to see that team and see what we could do against the mighty. What did you call it earlier, Crackers? The juggernaut, weren't a juggernaut, but the behemoth of City.
Behemoth.
The
Behemoth.
behemoth. That's I actually love that. So I was excited to see that. One thing I'll quickly say, I know you're talking about that team, and if you want to bring it back up again, is that Davis, Royal, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, I know he didn't start. Skip, I know he didn't start. These players, they don't pass the ball first time, or technically don't pass the ball as quickly as where they can. Again, I think Brian Hill, I think he played really well in parts. Like his part for the goal was really good, the turning, but I was frustrated with him against Villa when I watched the game back, because I think he kept going backwards. He'd get himself into a position and then he'd go back. And it's not his fault. He hasn't got the speed to take somebody on as a winger, has he? Do you know what I mean? I actually think he's a technical player, wants to come more inside. And then when you look at the likes of Davis, when Davis picks the ball up in that left centre-back position, he hasn't got the power or the pace or the guile to either hit it first time or go into a bit more of a midfield. See where I'm coming from, lads, viewers and listeners. So we lose that. So we're losing them little nuances. We're losing because Van de Ven does that. Romero does that on the other side. Royal, as Pat, as you picked out earlier, he was like divvying on the ball. And although I think he was better in the second half, to be fair, but they were almost taking too many touches at times, I think, and I've singled out them players because I think it's like a Doggy. I thought he was absolutely excellent again today. I thought he was superb. Destiny. I know he got booked, but I thought he was really good. And actually, when he got booked, people were thinking, "Oh, here we go." He was sensational, wasn't he? After he got booked, didn't even know he was on a yellow card. So again, and Porro again. Big shout out to Porro. I thought he was again sensational. Everyone's talking about Doku being brilliant, and he is brilliant. I thought they handled him pretty well, considering. I know he hit the bar in the first half, but that was weird when Davis had to go and cover because Porro had just taken a corner up the other end. So it wasn't against Porro that I don't think Porro struggled. Do you see where I'm coming from? So I just think
Can I say, Lee, just on that, on Doku,
Yeah.
let you come back in. Doku, he completed only one successful dribble against Spurs.
Wow.
Which that's the joint fewest he's completed in a Premier League start for Man City since he's gone there, which I think tells you a lot of just how good Pedro Porro was in that game.
Okay, that backs it up. Yeah, because that was just a feeling that I had, or what sometimes you watch the game in the eyeballs versus through stats, but that's fantastic. So I just picked them kind of 4 or 5 players out they wanted to take an extra touch, and that's why I wanted to go in on Bissouma a little bit. I don't know when you're going to do that section, so I'll save it. But again, he just wanted to take an extra touch. Whereas Kulu, he'd get the ball, Pedro Porro, get the ball round the corner straight away. Bang, he knows where they are. It's the ball's going to go. I mean, there was some very good triangles, some very good sand timers, if you want to call it that, figures of 8, whatever, in terms of patterns of our play that we were doing today. And some of them players were involved in that, but it's just a lot harder. It's just a lot harder to do it with them players. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah, it does. Look, Spurs getting off, Pat, come around to you, to the most glorious of starts. And, again, Spurs taking the lead at the Etihad. This has become a bit of a familiarity, I've got to say, in what's been the last 4 or 5 seasons. Great work on the edge of the own box by Hill to put Kulusevski away. He hit an early ball into the path of Sonny, who headed the ball, ran through, and our shot hit was under Ederson. But, Sonny loves scoring against Man City. He becomes the first player to score on the road against 4 different reigning champions in the Premier League. 8th goal in 18 appearances versus Man City. Only scored more versus Southampton and Leicester. And as I mentioned, he's now been directly involved in 30 Premier League goals against the Big Six, 76 games, 23 goals, 7 assists. He even has one of them as an own goal, as we saw on the back of today. And Son now joins his old strike partner, Harry Kane, in the illustrious 50-plus club. Only these two have scored 50-plus away goals in the Premier League for Tottenham. We talk about Sonny, Pat, at times, previously, and not being able to step up against maybe sides where they may be quite inferior to Tottenham. But, I think we've got to say Son this season has been imperious for Tottenham. You look at big goals that he scored away at the Emirates, now away at the Etihad. I think these are the games where you need Sonny to step up, make the difference. And again, that goal, when you look back now at the game, proving absolutely vital in Tottenham, getting a point away at the Etihad.
Yeah, for the people that are listening in, I tried to do the Sonny celebration and I just bodged it up. So I'll let Lee do that. I'm going to leave that to Lee because I
cannot
tried to
do the
do it
Sonny
live.
celebration.
Yeah, I tried to do it live on there. You know what? I'm not even going to try. Yeah. So, but you know what? Son is amazing, man. I love him. And like I said, when people were getting onto him last year, because by his standards, he had a bit of a stinker last year. And I told everyone to relax, that the guy's so good. It came out after the season that he was carrying a knock and an injury. And obviously he looks sharp, he looks electric, he's dangerous. Admittedly, Ederson should have saved that shot, but who cares? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you make your own luck. Sonny took on the defenders, hit it hard and clean and low, and sometimes those balls would give a keeper nightmares, and it did. It was good value today. We didn't have a lot of it says we had 45% of the ball, which I'm a bit surprised at. I thought it was a lot less than that, if I'm being honest. But in the second half, we did seem to exert ourselves a lot more from probably about the 55th minute onwards. And yeah, whenever Son got the ball, it stuck. It was clean. Brilliant, man. And obviously laid it off for Lo Celso as well. And no one spoke about Lo Celso yet. Listen, this guy.
We're coming, Pat. We're coming. We're coming, my man. We're coming. We're coming, bro. We're coming.
I want to shout him out because a lot of people didn't believe in him. I said he has to play, he has to start, and I just want to see the Lo Celso we see in the Argentinian shirt, and we have seen that in the last 2 games. He's been fantastic. He's gone under the radar, but you know he's chipping in with.
It's a lovely goal, isn't it?
Yeah,
lovely goal.
That strike was fantastic. A few touches, all the confidence in the world to take that shot on, and it beat a brilliant goalkeeper, and it was a brilliant goal. No one can take that away from us. The goals we scored today, the Kulusevski goal may have been a bit lucky in terms of where it hit, but you make your own luck because their first goal was a bit lucky as well. Sonny, lazy fire, it comes off his fire and goes in. But listen, we were good value for our goals. I think Lo Celso is quietly really starting to feel that he's a member of the team, because before it always looked like he didn't feel like he belonged there.
He's on the periphery, hasn't he? He was on the periphery.
Yeah. And now you see it. He's asking for the ball. He's making even if something doesn't come off, he's looking to like even play balls with the outside of his foot. He's starting to be that bit of a conductor, a magician in the middle of the park. And yeah, man, I thought he was brilliant today. I thought he was really good. And the goal just capped that off. And I'm so happy Kulu scored as well. But going back to your question about Son, yeah, I think he's amazing. Brilliant captain. You know, there's different types of captains. He's not that rugged, you know, shouting all day and will run after the referee and all of that stuff. But he just leads by example. He's always there. You can see such a kind guy off the pitch. You see by how he's respected by every coach and every rival player. Always shows the most respect, you know, for him. And obviously, yeah, he does his business on the pitch. He always contributes with goals. I'm hoping he can get another golden boot this year. It's going to be tough because obviously Haaland is a machine, but if Son can keep chipping away, you just never know. So yeah, and if obviously Son's scoring goals, we're scoring goals. So yeah. Man, I love Son. I can't lie. I can never say too many bad things. He's amazing. I think he's one of the best players we've ever seen in a Spurs shirt. And I think only when he retires, and I hope that's a long way off, we'll realise how important and good he was for us.
I totally agree on that. I think, like you said, Sonny will be one of those players that it's only when he's no longer here they'll recognise the contribution that he's given to Tottenham over the course of many, many, many years.
Exactly.
That's why, again, he's so loved and idoled, we know, in South Korea. And again, we're blessed to have so many wonderful South Korea viewers and listeners that, look, I think many of us do recognise as the true player.
Sorry, Vicky, and against the big teams as well. Like, let's have it right. He scores big goals against Man City, Arsenal, Manchester United, Liverpool, whoever you want to talk about, Champions League. This guy, you know, he contributes at the highest level. They're not, you know, against Wolves and Bournemouth, with all due respect. These are big games and big moments. So, yeah, I love him. I think he's... So, and even now, to the degree, I mean, there was a stupid post on Twitter yesterday saying that Tomiyasu is the best Asian player in the Premier League or something. And obviously so many rival fans were like, how could you disrespect Son? So even, you know, even though I still feel he's underrated, people realize how good he is. Like, he's brilliant, man. He's brilliant.
I've got to get us back on schedule, so I'm going to try and put us back into some kind of tactical mode here. Obviously, City level within minutes, or a minute. Unfortunately for Sonny, this time around, as a free kick hits his thigh and deflects past Vicario. His first ever own goal of his Spurs career. And if you know what supporting Spurs is like, that's what it's like in a space of about 55 seconds. And look, I think City from there, it should have been 2-1, but Erling Haaland missing an absolute sitter as he put the ball wide of the target surely the Premier League's most, well, he's a human moment after all, because I think everyone was expecting to know the net to absolutely bulge. And, after that, Spurs, we had a period of possession, more good work for Brian Hill to seize on a loose silver pass, but his low cross was sent behind the City goal. Doku hit the woodwork with an effort as well, but then City did take the lead. Cracks, coming over to you. Alvarez finding Foden, running into space in the box. It's on it past Vicario. Now, Gary Neville was saying Ben Davies was really at fault for going with the runner as it opened up for City. But in the process, Cracks, there was a horrific clearance from Emerson Royal and a weak challenge by Brennan Johnson before that let them in. And, again, we talk about the fact here, Cracks, that individual errors, if this result wasn't to have gone Spurs' way in the fact of a minute and a half, again, a lot of today would have been based on individual errors, Spurs being the masters of their own downfall. Because when you look at that goal back, so unavoidable, Cracks.
Yeah, we scored 3 good goals and we gifted them 2, didn't we? So it's as simple as that. So once we actually knocked that out of our game, and that's more easily knocked out of our game. Somebody's just put on the screen there, Rick, busting a nut. I don't even want to go there. With what that might mean, busting a nut, Rick, because I think in youth speak, I mean, I'm 50 years old.
Wrong podcast, wrong show, wrong time for you.
Wrong podcast.
Yeah, you got to say pause after that.
Probably the wrong audience as well.
If you want to see Ricky Sacks busting a nut, you've got to join his OnlyFans.
Pause.
That got cancelled years ago.
But listen, we gifted them goals today. But look, let's be honest. Ben Davies is not a centre back, and he's gone with his runner. He shouldn't have done, and we got picked apart. So this leads me on to another thing of everybody getting on Eric Dyer's back. Eric Dyer picked up an injury. He wasn't even in the squad today. But when he turns out, he gives you everything. It might not be enough, but he gives you everything. Romero today wasn't on the pitch because he's picked up a silly suspension. So, think about going forward, whose back you get on in this Tottenham team. So, Ben Davies, bless him, he's coming today. He's not a centre-back. That's not his role. That's not his thing. But he's picked up the baton and he's had a go and he's got caught out at the champions. They're the best side in the world. They are literally the best side in the world. And so they should be with the money they've got behind them. So he's got caught. And it's led to the goal, isn't it? So I don't know. I struggle to get on somebody's back if it's actually turned out today, given their everything. And if it isn't quite enough, it's not enough. And I'd rather people point their fingers at somebody like Romero and go, because you got sent off, you're not here today.
It's put us in this position.
This is the problem.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the thing I have with football. Everybody goes, "Oh, you was this today, you was that today, you was this today," but he was on the pitch, and Romero wasn't because he picked up a silly sending off. So it's tough. It is tough. I don't like to get on anybody's back because of what they've done. I'd rather pick up on people because of what they haven't done. This leads me back to people like Undembele. Undembele should be there today, absolutely bossing that midfield, but because he just can't quite be a professional footballer.
Not you, Jace.
But you see what I'm saying, yeah? It's
like, me as well.
Don't get into people that that are actually giving it and being professional, even if it's not quite good enough in your estimations. Give it to those people that can do something about it.
Yep, I hear you on that. Yeah, I hear you.
You hear what I'm saying, yeah?
I do. But I mean, the only thing I would say, Macca, come around to you is that, after that moment, we then see Spurs give away the ball, which leads to a City transition. And again, I don't want to sit here and dig out players purposely because we've come back and we've had a wonderful result at the home of the champions. But I think the point I'm trying to make here is that the concern is that we are still having to rely on a lot of what we're going to probably say is the fringe players that ultimately, in a year's time, might not be here under Ange. There was a moment where, look, again, Emerson gives away the ball, City rush forward with Alvarez striking the left-hand post. And there's a moment where Jamie Carragher said on Royal's distribution, he's an accident waiting to happen. I think the thing with Emerson is, and again, Mac, I'll get your thought on it. There's being brave at the back, but there are times, and it's not just Emerson, Davis as well, there's certain players that you don't need to take such an unnecessary risk all the time. And I get it, it's Ange ball. I get it, Mackie, you're going to say we've got to be all in. But again, is that where the players are going to be cute enough with their experience to know the right time to play the ball and the right time not to? Do you see where I'm coming from on that, Macca?
Yeah, 100%. And the whole piece about Ange ball all in, that's the strategy, that's the philosophy, if you want to use that word. The tactical in game. I think Ange has been quite clear on this since he joined the club. Is that he gives the players that freedom to be able to do that. If you look at James Maddison as an absolute example is that James Maddison doesn't just sit in the 10 role, does he? You'll see sometimes James in the left.
He'll float.
You'll see him come and pick up the ball in a number 6 position sometimes. Again, so lucky, Jesus. I'm back.
Oh yeah,
shocking. Sorry, language. Yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi going in now. James Maddison, he got back, doesn't he? As far as sometimes as deep as the 6. He picked the ball up. He got caught, didn't he, that time against Arsenal? And Jesus should have scored, but we got away with it. And Boomer did that today. I mean, there's 3 or 4 players.
Oh man, we're losing it, man.
I think this is like watching that first half of the back 3 back 4, wasn't it?
He's gone.
We might let Macca do a quick reset and bring him back in. The fuzziness of Macca there, just almost the fuzziness of the first half of Emerson Royal's performance there. We'll let Macca come in and come back out there and rejoin us. Look, I think amidst, as we've seen there, the madness, Spurs actually going into half time, quite lucky. I think I would say 2-1 down. I think many would have probably felt that it could have been a 3-1, 4-1 game. And Macca, you're freshening back up there just to bring Macca back in. I think going into half-time, Lee, at the 2-1 scoreline, was you fairly relieved that it was 2-1? Because I think everyone felt Spurs were in a game there. And I think I'm just talking for the sake of talking here because I think Macca has completely gone. But we will allow him to do a quick reset. And I think what we are going to do, hold on, he might be back. Is he back? Macca, can you hear us? You can hear us, okay.
Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac.
There you go. Perfect. Let's get him out here. That's my walk-on tune.
On that point, Macca, going into half-time, I mean, was you quite relieved that it was only 2-1? Because I think we all felt, it could have been a lot higher given the way that first half was coming to a close.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's why it was so important, the second half, because actually you look at that first half, they had 4 shots on target in the whole game. And actually, we were backs against the walls. I mean, Doku hits the bar, Alcaraz or whatever his name is hits the post, and then you've got obviously the own goal and this, that, and the other. So how many chances did they actually create in the second half? I know they obviously scored a goal, but outside of that goal that they scored, how many saves did Vicario have to make in the second half? I can't remember that many. I'm probably wrong, but yeah. So it was really important. To go into without going 3 down or 4. I mean, to be fair, we could have been 3 or 4 down, couldn't we? To be honest. And again, it's indicative of Villa. Villa. It was imperative that we got into half time at 1-0 up last week, and obviously we didn't, and we conceded a goal at that set piece. And when Sonny scored that own goal, when that set piece was he was lining up to take us, thinking, oh no. are we going to start having a problem with these sorts of set pieces because of the Villa one was on the other side the other day, and now this one? Because there is no height in that team, is there? I mean, let's be honest about it. I think it was well documented.
Yeah.
There's no height in that team. So we play 4 fullbacks as across the back line. So it was a relief to get in. I think, look, the thing is, again, you're talking about not wanting to dig people out and whatever, but we are a show to talk about the game and have a look at the result and whatever. And the reality is, Bissouma had a shocker. Højbjerg coming on was a good thing for that game. I think, I think
for me, he changed the game, Lee. We're going to come on to it in a second. He changed the game, in my opinion. He really, really did.
I agree. And actually, if you look at the previous 10 games, so we've played 14 games now in the Premier League, and actually people that are saying about the injuries and all that sort of stuff, it backs, obviously the stats back it up. In the 4 games that we've been decimated in, we've conceded 11 goals. I mean, that is ridiculous, team. If you think about it, that is pretty ridiculous. And I'm not having to go at individuals because it's a makeshift and whatever, but that's virtually 3 a game. So we're having to like score 3 or 4 to win a football match. And actually, if you're only scoring 1 or 2, then we're obviously losing the game. In the previous 10 games before that, we only conceded 9 in 10 games. And that's when you got your fully fit Van der Vens and your Romeros on the pitch, right? So less than a goal a game conceded versus now we're letting in 3. So that's a massive issue moving forward, and that's why we are going for them tougher times, right? But we did gift them an own goal, and we also gifted them that Bissouma giving the ball away. And you just look at it and you think, blimey, like, we're conceding these goals, but it's not actually because of the defence is out. Does that make sense? Like, because Bissouma isn't one of the centre-backs. And if he doesn't do what he does today, they don't score that second goal.
I mean, yeah, I totally agree. And this is why we love football, right? Because, again, how it can completely change. What we are going to do, we are going to go for our final break of the show for our listeners on audio. For those that are watching us live, there's a good 1,500 of you. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We're joined by the wonderful Lee McQueen, the superb Jack Cracknell, and the brilliant Patrick Tyrant on the award-winning Last Word on Spurs. Right, second half. Now, again, Spurs making that immediate change at the break. Højbjerg coming on for Hill. And I think what we saw with Højbjerg, and again, I want to give credit here because, again, Højbjerg is one of those players where recently he's taken a lot of stick. Many would say rightly so, but there was way more control, I felt, when Højbjerg came on. It was almost that double pivot in midfield rather than Bissouma on his own, which, let's be honest about it, we maybe should have absolutely started with in hindsight. But again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But Højbjerg was the difference maker. It feels like he won't get the praise he deserves because sometimes it doesn't suit the agenda. But he was really, really important to the way Spurs played in that second half, got the point. And that, again, we saw with Spurs in that second half. I said earlier about being the masters at our own downfall. Vicario making an absolute flying save from Silva to make up for a loose intercepted pass. And that all came from the goalkeeper's own mistake. And don't get me wrong, wonderful save. But you wonder whether Spurs needed to be in that position. We had Johnson have a run. That shot was comfortable for Ederson to gather. And I've got to say, Johnson, for me, grew and grew and grew throughout that game. And I think Pat said it earlier, what a player we've got there in terms of potentially for the future. Now, Lo Celso, Pat's been driving me mad to come on to him. Pat, we're going to come on to Lo Celso. We'll start with you. Scoring a lovely low curling shot to level the score. And I've got to say, in that goal on the build-up, Davis won a really important diving header at the back. And it goes all the way to the Argentine, who cut inside. Beautiful goal. It's 2 goals now, back-to-back for Dejan Lo Celso. And many will say there is a player in there, and you can see the quality he has, Pat. Would you agree?
Listen, the thing is, we all know there's a player in there because he plays for one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world, Argentina. They won the Copa America, they won the World Cup, and this guy consistently starts for them. And we all see the performances he puts in. And it's frustrating because up until recently, he'd never done it in a Spurs shirt. And it was criminal. I think he had 1 goal in like 52 games. Now he's got 3 goals in like 53 games. So within the space of just 2 extra games, he's literally trebled his goal tally for Spurs. And you can see the players in there. You can see he's feeling more confident. He feels part of the team. He's doing nice little... I mean, he's involved in a lot of the build-up. For him to take that shot on from where we took it on, that's a player full of confidence and belief, because someone that doesn't believe in himself doesn't take that shot from that angle against Man City. And yeah, I was so happy when it went in. Funny enough, this is a bit random, but when Son scored early on, I didn't even celebrate because I was so scared that they was going to call an offside or, something like that. Like they was literally going to, put a dampener to our mood and celebrations. But with that Lo Celso goal, I celebrated straight away because I knew there was no way they could call it off. We won the ball back from Ben Davis's diving header. Sonny a few touches, laid it off to Lo Celso. Boom, it's a goal. The build up, there was no way there was anything wrong with that goal. So I
nice to have no VAR, wasn't it?
Exactly. But you can celebrate that in the moment because
there was nothing,
no
was there?
Yeah, there's no like, oh, is he offside or did this? You knew it was a good goal. So it kind of is a bit random, but it just goes to show how VAR is literally, you can't even celebrate in the moment now. But that one I did celebrate because I knew it was good. And then I was like, wow, I was thinking, damn, if we equalized too early, because I was like, are Man City going to step up again? But then a couple of the minutes after, I was like, you know what, we can actually get a result here and even win this. And then obviously later on, Bissouma did what he did, which we'll probably get into. But yeah, Lo Celso, brilliant, man. I like him. I like him. And I just hope that he can continue in this vein of form. And then when we get everyone back, he's fighting and pushing to, obviously, the better quality that we have fighting to get into that starting 11, the better our team is. And if we need to rotate or we need to take someone off, because players will have games where they're not great, and you may need to take them off at half time or, 60 minutes, saying you've got another top player for 30 minutes that can come in and make a difference. And today he made a difference. And I said it when, when we announced our lineup versus Aston Villa, I was like, some of these guys have really got to step up now and show that they're good enough to stay. And so far, Lo Celso is doing that. All he can do is do what he's doing, and credit to him, man, because, it takes a lot to come in when you kind of know you weren't really, first team, or you was on the fringe, and then to show that you're ready and capable, and he's doing that. So I just hope all the Spurs fans can get behind him. Maybe if he does have a wobble and has a bit of a shaky game, they're not like, oh, see, I told you so. They just believe in him, because there are times when Son or Maddison will have a couple of bad games, but the quality's there. Hopefully guys can see the qualities there and they back him and continue to allow him to flourish, because good players and creative players will have bad games. They will make mistakes, but it's whether they can be strong enough to keep going. And so far you're seeing that he's doing that. So yeah, I've got nothing but respect and admiration for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, Crack, isn't it, when you look at the goal scoring records for Lo Celso. So he's got 2 goals in 5 appearances against City. He's registered just 1 goal in 55 appearances against other teams in the competition. I mean, there's just something about Man City that just seems to work for Lo Celso. But what I do agree with Pat's point is, Cracks, I'm not sure if you agree, that I know you keep an eye on a lot of the foreign players, of course, from your perspective, and the ones that are coming through. I want to feel like you've also said in the past, Lo Celso, we've always seen something. I've always seen something that's worth still kind of examining, but he just hasn't really had the opportunity. Has he just stumbled on now, Cracks, the right manager at the right time that suits this man's style of football? Because he looks like when he plays that he could really do a great job in this team, Cracks. No? Yes?
Rick, Man City must be absolutely sick of Argentinian players, mustn't they? From 1981 to today, they've had 42 years of Argentinian players for Tottenham, just absolutely being a thorn in their side and a pain in their arse. Look, where I live in Lanzarote now, it's not really Spanish. It's more of a South American culture because of the amount of South Americans that live here. Colombians, Bolivians, Venezuelans, Argentinians, Brazilians. So and my lad plays football for his local team. So I've kind of got to learn the culture of South American people and South American footballers. And Lo Celso is very, very typically South American. If you back them, if you give them something to buy into, then you'll get everything from them. If they don't quite believe in you as a manager and what you want, you'll get nothing from them. Absolutely nothing. So I think with Lo Celso, under Conte, you couldn't get a tune out of him, could you? Now somebody like Postecoglou's come in that said to him, mate, just go out and play your football. Just go out and do your thing. You've got to allow South American footballers just to do their thing. when with a British mind on things, you'll say to yourself, oh, I can't put up with that. I can't do this. I can't. No, you can't do this. You can't do that. You've got to just allow them to play their game. And I think under Postecoglou, he gets that. I think he said to Lo Celso, just go out and do your thing. Go out and express yourself. Go out and be the player that you want to be. Just give me what you can give me. And now you're seeing the results of it. And honestly, I love him. I absolutely love him as a footballer. He's just giving you what he is as a South American footballer, as an Argentinian footballer. He's like Ricky Villa. You'll get one game out of him where you'll go, wow. And then you get 4 games from him where you'll go, yeah, maybe not today, maybe not today. Then all of a sudden, he just tears it to pieces. And that is Argentinian, Brazilian footballers, South American footballers. They'll give you everything in one game, and a couple of games they'll give you nothing. So he's buying into what Ange is trying to do, because he's allowing people to play football. Under Conte wouldn't let him play. He wouldn't let him play. You've got to allow South American footballers to play football. You've just got to literally just say to them, go out there, do what you can do. Do what you can do. It's a different mindset. With British mindsets, completely different. It's chalk and cheese. It's day and night, Rick. So when Ange is literally let him play football, just let him play. Just let him play football, and you'll get what you get today.
Oh, man. I totally agree. Listen, again, I mean, I've got to say, Lee, I want to bring you in because I know we've got to have this Bissouma chat, and I don't want to kind of override where this show is going to finish. Macca on Lo Celso, I totally agree with what Crack says there. You can see there's a real work rate there to him, and there is this thing that, as Crack says, that City just don't seem to finish or end well when he's got Argentinian Spurs players involved. And the fact, again, is today is that, look, he could have had his head drop because he gave away the free kick that City scored from. But then, apart from that, he was then up for 2 close efforts that, could have entailed hit the back of the net. One of them did. But I think overall, his work rate was the most impressive thing for me. 77 minutes on the pitch. I was actually gutted when he came off, with no disrespect to Oliver Skip, because I felt we were losing someone there that was a really, really good attacking player that was bringing more to the game as it grew. So I was disappointed to see him come off. I mean, just
to double check, Rick, you were disappointed with him to go a little bit more pragmatic at that point.
You're right. I was disappointed of Ange Postecoglou to go more pragmatic, despite the fact that during the week to Mr. Anthony Costa, I was open-minded to the fact that we could go more pragmatic. But again, that just sums up where things are at. And so much so I think Lee is now frozen on us, and we have his beautiful, elegant face there for everyone to stare at there. Crackers might be going as well. No, he's back. And we've got him. Yeah,
no, all right. I'm here. Don't worry about me.
We got Macca back. We're not going to get this.
Macca, how can I live in a tiny little island off the coast of northwest Africa and have a constant stream on here, and you live in the metropolis of London and you keep freezing in and out? That's not right.
I'm in the beautiful area of Oxfordshire, but even so, it's still a nightmare. Anyway, I was just about to say to you, just to double check, Rick, what you were saying was you were disappointed when Ange took off an attacking player to put on a more pragmatic, defending-y type player. Was you?
You're right. I mean, with no disrespect, I think also the fact, and I don't mean this in a horrible way about Oliver Skip. I don't mean this in a disrespectful way.
No,
but
I agree. I do agree.
It's also the drop-off there in the quality as well. And don't get me wrong, Skip, I must say, Skip actually played a vital role in Spurs' winner. But overall, again, when you look at the difference of players coming off, I just want to give Lo Celso his due because I think he played ever so well today. And not make it continue, right?
Look, jokes aside, I thought he had a good game as well. Again, I think I said in the group, but at half-time, I was looking at these players like Bissouma, Lo Celso. I'm thinking, where are you boys? Do you know what I mean? Even with a bit of Brennan Johnson, I think down the right-hand side, I thought that was his preferred position. before he came to the football club, but he was much more effective when he went on the left. And actually only burned, I don't know who it was, is it Guardiola who was playing that side? He only burned him once.
Yeah, Guardiola. Yeah.
But I do think that's because the whole team were playing not the way that Ange wanted them to play in the first half. So I don't want to ever go. Look, in the second half, Lo Celso, mate, brilliant finish, good play, and I agree with what all of you have said, and in the comments as well, Patty, I think you said he feels part of the team, or Rick, you might have said it, he feels part of the team now, and that's really important, and that's good because you want to have an issue when Maddison comes back. You want to be looking at that thinking, right, so Lo Celso's now got a couple of assists. He scored 4 goals, 5, hopefully 5 and 3 assists, whatever, right, by that point. And you want to be in a situation where you don't have to rush Maddison back and/or there's a competition for that particular place. To be fair,
exactly.
Could Maddison and Lo Celso play in the same midfield? 100%. And I think this is the other thing, because there's a lot. Shout out to Mark Trannis and on X. I think he's just put out tonight, what is our best midfield three? This is a great, when everyone's fit. I mean, Ange Postecoglou joked, didn't he, in his pre-match press conference about the dreams that you had having Bissouma and Bentancur playing in the same midfield. You got Sarr to come back in, you got Bentancur to come back in, you got Bissouma, you got a Pierre-Emile Højbjerg that's smashing it out to today in the second half. You've obviously got Maddison to come back. Now, Lo Celso's dripping in. Skip's now looking, thinking, how am I getting in this side? See where I'm coming from? That can only be a good thing. So, look, fair dues to Lo Celso, mate. I liked what I saw in pre-season of him. I thought he was a wrong un, if I'm honest. I thought he was wrong.
A wrong.
He's a wrong un. Like, that's what I say. Like, in terms of his head's not in. His head's not in Tottenham. That's what I thought. I thought his head's not in Tottenham. He don't really want to be there. You still see newspaper articles or whatever. Don't read everything you read, but you see articles that you don't want to be here and you don't want to be around and all that sort of stuff. And but fair play to the lad, because his stats have been absolutely shocking. They're worse than Lucas Moura's have been in the past when people used to get on his back. His stats are worse than Dembele's, whatever, as Patrick said. But in the last few games, we've said, mate, you've got to step up. And he has. That's fair play. Absolutely. Fair play to the bloke.
Guys, let's just squeeze in where we are with Bissouma. Lee, I'm going to stick with you. I mean, this moment, Grealish putting City back into the lead. Bissouma, who, let's be honest about it, for me, I think overall had a bit of a sloppy day anyway. Gave the ball away to City at the second opportunity, and they work it across to Grealish to score. I mean, the thing that infuriated me, Lee, is that he tries to beat not one, not two, but about 3 or 4 players in one moment, caught on it by Rodri. And again, look, today we've got away with it. We've ended up getting a point where, again, we have a reflection period where I think we all have the opinion here that I don't know what has happened to Yves Bissouma since that Luton game. I don't know whether it's been the fact that there's been a suspension hanging over his head. I'm not sure whether it's a lack of confidence. I mean, to me, when I look at Bissouma feels to me a really, really confident player. So it's really hard for me to understand with Bissouma what it is that we're not seeing what we saw in the opening 5, 6, 7 games of the season. We'll actually kind of pat on this first and we'll let Lee refresh and come back in. Pat, where are we with Bissouma? Why do you think we're not seeing those performances that we did see at the start of the season?
You know what? I think with Bissouma, he's somebody that needs a run of games. Like, he's someone that almost like he warms up. And once he's had 2 or 3 games on the spin, you really see him getting his rhythm, getting a feel for the game. And I felt like, obviously, he's had a suspension. He's been in and out. And it's funny because in one of my Spurs group chats at halftime, a few people were saying that he wasn't good and he hadn't been good enough. But I defended him, saying that the centre backs aren't good enough to find him the ball. Like when you got Romero and Mickey van der Ven, they're good enough to bring the ball up and find him in a decent passing angle so then he can progress the ball forward. Our centre backs at the moment aren't good enough to do that. So that was one thing. But secondly, he just seemed a bit almost behind the game. And he grew into the game, and you could see the thing I love about Bissouma is that even if he's not playing great, he's still got the confidence to try what he did. But we were living on the edge, and there was a few moments where we almost got caught out. And obviously, in that moment, it was such a fine margin, and he got caught slipping. He was surrounded by 3 Man City players. They're one of the best pressing teams in the league. When they find the ball in that area, they're going to punish you 9 times out of 10. Like you said, Rodri got the ball, slipped it into Jack Grealish, and there's no way players of that caliber are missing from there. And it was suicidal because we shot ourselves in the foot. And at that point, I was so annoyed. I was like, you know what, we've worked so hard and we're going to end up with nothing. But we kept pushing and kept pushing, and that's the sign of a brilliant team in the sense of we were down and out, but we didn't show that on the pitch. We kept pushing and kept knocking, and obviously we got our just rewards in the end. But going back to Bissouma, he does need to wake up now, because there's only so much credit in the bank and grace and a leeway that we can give you. We know how good you are, but you need to start showing it. And you've had this game, shake off the ring rust, shake off the rust, but now it's time to go again, man. West Ham at home on Thursday, and then we've got Newcastle, I believe, on Sunday at home. Two decent fixtures, where we're going to need to play just probably better than this, because we're going to be at home. We need to exert ourselves. And Bissouma's one of our ball playing players. If he's not at it, it does affect the team. So he just needs to wake up. Like, whatever's going on, shake yourself out of it and just get a kick on the backside and get on with it, man, because we need you. We know how good you are, but he was very sloppy today. And against a team like Man City, we almost, he almost cost us the game, literally. Like,
no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
Crazy to say it, and we try to fine line on here, because we have a good chat. We're honest. We don't want to be negative and dig out players, but at the end of the day, we've got to call it how we see it. And today he wasn't good enough, and he did almost cost us the game. That's not being negative, it's just being honest and having an open discussion. So I hope people in the chat can understand that. We've got to call it. If we don't call it, no one else will. And yeah, he wasn't good enough today, but I know, like, even he got subbed off, you could see it in his face. He knew that he wasn't good enough. So hopefully he can raise his level, because when he's at it, he's one of the best in the league. Like, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
but he's got to stay, and I don't want to bring these guys into it, but I will, just to as a measure. When you got Rodri and you got Declan Rice, these guys have consistently stayed at that same level. Bissouma was up there with them, and now he's dropped. He needs to bring himself back up there, because, in my opinion, he's just as good as these guys. But right now, he's not showing it.
Such a spot on analogy there. I've got to say, Crack, if I can bring you in, and I will go for Lee. Go on, Crack. Let me give you a little something on Bissouma. Now, I might live 2,000 miles away from London, but news reaches me via WhatsApp and things I'm told. And Bissouma, great player, but I think he likes to go out and party a little bit with his friends and with people around him. And at this level, you can't do it, Rick. You cannot do it. I think he likes to go out and have a little club night, does this, does that, goes out with friends. And look, nothing terrible. Nothing terrible. But when you get to this level of the Premier League, and
1%, Cracks. If you're off it by 1%.
It's not even 1%, Rick. It's like 0.1%. It's literally that much. So if I can say anything, Bissouma might just want to think about maybe not going out once every couple of weeks with his pals, knuckling down and just giving everything to his career. Just everything. The gold standard in all of this is Cristiano Ronaldo. He just absolutely, even now, he just gives everything. Just gives everything. If you've got this chance to be a pro footballer, you have to give everything. And if that means missing out on a couple of nights out with friends and just going to party and doing this and doing that, so be it, because you'll be retired and finished at 31, 32 years old. Wow. You've got 50 years to go out and party with your friends. So with Yves Bissouma, like, listen, just give everything. Just give everything to this career. And on that Sunday night after a game, when you've been invited out to a club in London, no, go to bed. Go and get your rest. Go and drink your water. Get up Monday morning, go into training and get ready for the game next Saturday, next Sunday, whenever it is. So I think that's where Yves Bissouma is. It's tough. It is really, really tough. When you're young and you're a Premier League footballer and you're earning that sort of money, and everybody wants a piece of you, you've just got to resist a little bit. So that's all I'm saying. There's one or two players in this league, not even at Spurs, across the league, that might just be going out with pals a little bit too much, going to bed a little bit too late. When you make it as a Premier League footballer, you've got to be in bed at 9 o'clock, up next morning, training, bang on it, bang on it, bang on it. It is literally, Rick, that much. You've just got to be that much more on it.
Yep.
And if you're not, and if you're that much off of it, you've lost everything. You just know it is absolutely finite. You've got to give everything to your career. Everything. Every last little drop.
I'm in. I do agree. Listen, Lee, I want to ask you about Cooley. Before I do, look, I need to get your very quick thoughts on Bissouma.
Yeah,
Maybe
sorry.
let's do it quickly. Lee, will he turn it around? And we saw an unbelievable player there for the 6-7 games. What I do agree with Cracks on there is consistency is so spot on. And Pat read them out there so eloquently. The players in his position that ultimately are consistently, performing at a level week in, week out. And that's where Bissouma, like Pat says, has to get to. Can he do it, Lee? Will we see the best of Bissouma again in a Spurs shirt?
Yeah, I think, he can do it because we've seen him do it. It's just that level of consistency, we haven't seen him do it. So that's what he's got to improve on. I mean, I don't know. There's definitely something that's changed since the Luton sending off 100%.
Yep.
And I think Pat, you're spot on again about Rodri and Rice. But what I would say about Rice as an example, right? They spent only $5 million, getting loads of plaudits, been absolutely brilliant. Of course he has, I agree with all of that. Arsenal 4 points worse off this season than they were last season. This league is bonkers, isn't it? It's like,
that's crazy. I didn't know that. That's actually crazy.
Exactly, man. Perception is reality.
Yeah.
People just think, they're going to steamroll the league. They're worse off than they were this time last year. Same as Man City. Man City are worse. They're 2 points worse off than at this point of last season.
What's our difference, Lee? Did you check
Our difference is 1 point. We're 1 point better off than we were last season.
Interesting.
Make it up. Yeah. But anyway, going back to Bissouma, sorry, Rick, I know you want to kind of move on. Going back to Bissouma, I don't know what it is. There's something there with what Crackers is saying what Pat's saying. There's something not right. And typically, when something's not right, it's something to do with a personal thing or personal life.
Yeah. Well, let you come back on this. Is it also the fact that he hasn't got Maddison next to him? Because there's no doubt about it that since Maddison's not been in the picture, that also for me I think has affected him as a player. And Sarr as well. I don't know whether you're taking him out the players that he's been playing with those first.
Also, what I said, better defenders that can pass to him in better angles instead of whacking the ball at him. When Ben Davies Ben Davies had a great game, but the velocity and the speed that Ben Davies whacks the ball into players, it's hard for them to control it. Where with Ricky Van der Ven and Romero, they're silky and smooth, and they're going to give you the pass at the right angle, the right weight and measure. These things make the difference in tight margins. So
that's a fair point. I mean, he's much slower on the ball, but then he whacks it into them. But Bissouma should be a good enough player to be able to handle that. To be fair, and he has to learn that really quickly because it's not as if he's dropped off like you guys were saying 1% or like 0.1%, which makes a difference at this level. Very, very fine margins. He's dropped off like he was 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 every week.
Consistently.
Now he's like 4 out of 10. I mean, let's have it right. I'm not again, what you're saying, Pat, we can only talk about what we see with our eyeballs. He was rubbish today. He was rubbish. Where was that silky Bissouma that drops the shoulder and takes 2 or 3 players out with one turn and go, no, it's gone. Yeah. Like, he ain't there. He's not, and even at the end, somebody said in the comments earlier, sorry, I can't name check you, but even at the end, he looks sheepish, they said. He looks like a bit like, whereas before he's dancing around and he's happy. And
I mean, you might put that down to the fact that, again, he probably holds himself responsible, Lee, for the fact that Spurs don't get more at that game, right? Because I think, would it be right for him to be dancing around, jumping around when he's been the contributing factor of Spurs conceding the goal? That, again, if they don't concede that, who knows what happens, right?
But that's, again, I agree with that, and I think you're probably spot on with the reason why he's doing that in his head. But he needs to get over that rapidly because that's what's holding him back. You know, it was like the yellow card. He was on 4 yellow cards, and is he playing a bit within himself because he's going to get another yellow card? All this stuff, like, obviously we have no idea. We're speculating. We don't know. But there's something not right. I read his Instagram post about 3 weeks ago, and he wrote something like, "What doesn't break you makes you stronger." And you know, it was a post that kind of suggested that he was going through a tough time. And if he's going for a tough time, of course, we wish him all the best. I love the player. I want him to do really, really well. I'm not, but you've got to call it how it is. If you're giving him a mark out of 10 today, he's probably a 4. That's the reality, isn't it?
We're going to go straight to Kulu. Time is pressing up against us here. Cracks, we're going to go to you, starting with Kulu. Look, the moment of absolute brilliance, scoring the 89th minute. Skippy playing the ball to Johnson, who picked out the Swede at the back post on the run to his strength to head home. And look, a moment that, again, we've had some lovely moments against City in the last minute. This is right up there with them, because for Kulusevski, it's a big, big goal. And for a player that really, I think, you know, some people maybe don't see the work that he does off the ball. Like, he works so hard, Dejan Kulusevski. And for anybody that, you know, wants to see players rewarded for their efforts, he most certainly should be one of them. For him, he's only the second player in Premier League history to score away against the reigning champions in 3 consecutive seasons. Danny Murphy is the other who did so in 4 between 01 and 03 and 04. I mean, look, Kulusevski said it feels like a huge point. It was unbelievable for the second half. I'm very proud of the team. It was a huge amount of character being shown out there. The coach said at halftime, please, just continue to play and do not think too much about it. How big is that goal, Cracks, for his own confidence? Because, again, I think he's a player that deserves so much more when he plays, and it comes at a crucial time with the games coming, as you know, Cracks, thick and fast now.
As much as we discussed Bissouma, now we discuss Kulusevski. Now, here's a lad. Footballers, Rick, they're not just footballers. It's the people that they are and what's fed into them when they were kids, when they were growing up, when they came through the ranks, makes them the players that they are. And Kulusevski, wow. I mean, here's a lad who was, I think he was about 14 years old, got kicked out to Italy. Off you go, ta-da, go and become a footballer. So he's 14 years old. He's had to go and fend for himself in Italy, got into digs, living with a family, went and earned his stripes, done this, done that, done this, done that. How old's Kulusevski now? 22 years old? 23?
23.
22 years old. Here's a man. That's a man. He's 22 years old, and he is a proper grown-up man. He's been 7-8 years going through the system, earning his stripes, doing what he does as a footballer, and now you're seeing the product of that. So Kulusevski, unbelievable player, unbelievable human. Listen, all I hope is when he comes to the end of his career, he does some Legends nights, because I cannot wait to talk to Kulusevski. I really cannot wait to speak to him, because I absolutely love him. He's 22 years old and he's a grown arse man. He owns everything. He really is the complete footballer. But more than that, he is the complete human being as well. He's been through the mill. He's had to grow up at a very, very, very young age and go through everything and get to where he's got to. If I was Kulusevski's dad, man alive, I'd be so proud of him. I would be so proud of him. And as a man that's old enough to be his dad, I think that's the biggest compliment I can pay him.
Oh, man. Lovely words, Cracks. Lovely words. And I think, again, when you look at the fact, Pat, coming over to you, that as I said earlier, the impact that goal could have for Tottenham in the course of their season could be absolutely huge. And again, for me, it's the guy that got it is so crucial to me. I think he encapsulates a lot of what an Ange Postecoglou team is about he fights every ball. He's a willing runner. He's such a willing worker. And I think, again, sometimes you can almost forget just the amount of work he does off the ball. And, again, Pat, he played a quick word over the top to set up Son's early goal. We got an assist there. It was what I would call, Pat, the all-action round performance that you could ask for a player. He couldn't give any more than that, Pat, right, for what he gives to this team?
Yeah, I mean, I love him, man. I love him. There's 4 players, but there's only 3 recent players that I've had printed on the back of my shirts, because I don't really print players' names on the back of my shirts, but the guys that I've fallen in love with, and that's Harry Kane, obviously he's gone, Heung-min Son, who we've all, praised him today, and Kulusevski, because I just
Who you got in the back there, Patty? Who you got in the back there?
This is Musa Dembele, I think.
Sanchez.
If I could punch you through the screen, I would right now.
Dire.
I've got more swag than that. Come on, man.
No, I'm joking, man. I'm sorry. I interrupted your flow.
Yeah. But no, I think I love him, and I think he's so talented. Sometimes we moan and grumble, he should pull the trigger a bit more. He's a bit selfless. Sometimes he should shoot. But you saw against Aston Villa, he should have had a goal. He was unlucky, but he's direct. He usually makes the right play. He's always willing to get on the ball. He covers the most ground in the Premier League, which is insane for a winger. And yeah, he's just, the end product is starting to come now as well. The goal and assist today. He's been racking up the goals as well. And I just think he embodies what you would want from an Ange Postecoglou player in 23-24. Him and Son, for me, are literally the epitome of what you would want from your players. They always work hard. They're always willing to track down. They put a shift in defensively. They're always willing to, make the right pass, selfless. And he's a thorn in Man City's side as well. They must hate him. They must hate playing against him, because he's always willing to get on. He's just always, he's a pain in the
butt. I think his third or fourth goal.
Yeah, his third goal. His third goal in 3 visits to the Etihad. So yeah.
Big game goal scorer. Big game goal scorer, right?
Big game goal. And if he, someone of his caliber should be getting 10 goals and 10 assists a season. Mm-hmm. I think he's up to 4 goals now, 3 or 4 goals, and he's got about 3 assists. So if he keeps pushing, he can definitely hit those numbers. And if he does hit those numbers, then we know that the team are doing well, because everyone's going to be on the score sheet. And yeah, he just does it all. And I like him because he's not the quickest, but he's always willing to take his man on. More often than not, he beats his man. He's not as predictable as he used to be. He always used to try and cut outside or cut in, but now he's doing a bit of everything. He's mixing it up. And I think he's an intelligent player. And yeah, long may it continue. We need everyone to really step up whilst we've got players out. And so far, him and Lo Celso have really kind of up the levels. And, we just need everyone else to... It's been a while since Son got on the score sheet as well. Son's back.
Yep.
Goal and assist today. We need all these guys to start chipping in if we need to win games. And I think Lee said it's quite worrying that we need to score 3 a game to win games now. So that needs to be looked at, because that is a bit scary. We need a 3 to just get a result today. Aston Villa scored 2, so we would have needed at least 2 to get a result there. Yeah, we need to kind of... It's hard, isn't it? Because you've got 2 fullbacks playing as centre-backs, but...
That's what's hurt us, isn't it, Pat?
Yeah.
The rest of the panel and the viewers and listeners, because you look at, we've scored 28 goals in the Premier League now, and obviously you scored 3 of them today. So previous to that, it's 25. And actually, when you look at the fact that we only scored 1 against Wolves, 1 against Chelsea, and 1 against Villa, most of our goals again came before all of the injuries. And actually, the goal ratio that we were scoring around 2.5 goals a game. But before, it was 2.3 goals per game, if you want the exact stat, before these injuries and suspensions. And now we're way below that. And now we have to score 3 a game just to try and even compete, because we're letting in that many. So that has been a huge shift. And that's actually in a kind of funny way, just if you don't mind, Rick, is why I'm so happy, because these players are going to come back, and we are going to get back to that level. And that level is going to see us go from 5th or 6th and 5th today now in the table back into the upper echelons. We're not going to win the league, but we're going to, in my opinion, finish in the top 3, because we will get our players back. Like, we are going through a horrendous. And to be fair to Newcastle also got huge amounts of injuries as well. But you look at like Liverpool, Arsenal, Villa, they have not had these injuries. And if they get sustained injuries, if you take Saliba and Gabriel and Declan Rice and Saka out of the Arsenal team.
And Odegaard, because Maddison is
Odegaard is Maddison, whatever. They're just, four of our core starters, maybe you could say five, but four of them, to drop them out at the same time has been absolutely, it's crucifying. It's absolutely battering them. So to get that point today has been brilliant. Just on Decky, I thought he was absolutely outstanding. I think he's underappreciated, maybe not by us, but from other people in the league.
Totally agree. And
other rival fans. I think all season has been superb. And I totally agree. I think it just needs to be a bit selfish in certain instances. It score more goals. We see it before he got injured, when he was with under Conte. When he came in that January until the end of the season, got top four. He was unbelievable. He was unbelievable. We just need to get that Decky back, and he's not far. He's been brilliant.
No, he isn't. Can I just say, amidst the madness, a debut for Jamie Donnelly, one of the brightest talents in the Spurs Academy right now. Great moment for him. And I think, again, given the nature of our injury crisis, I think there will be more minutes for Jamie coming in the coming weeks. And good on him. A Tottenham lad that's working really, really hard in the academy. And lovely moment for him to come on. What a place to make your debut. What a place. Man City away.
Do you remember when Winks got his debut against West Ham and he scored? Do you remember that under Poch and one of our own and that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Is it written in the stars that Jamie comes on for a home debut and just scores the winner or something? Make it happen, please. Footballing gods.
Can I just, you know what, Mako, see that beautifully there for me. I want to just give a shout out because I know the problem with the show is that, look, a lot of the players that score or assist take the headlines on this show, but it wouldn't be right if I didn't give Pierre-Emile Højbjerg a massive shout out, I think, for that second half performance. I think he was most certainly a key reason why Spurs go away from the Etihad with a point. He worked so hard. Postecoglou said after the game, I thought Pierre was excellent in the second half. His experience out there, I thought we just as a group had a lot more conviction about our football, just passing it and not second-guessing ourselves and being hesitant with our passes like we did in the first half. Look, I'm on the touchline. I see everything outside of the corner of the eye. But when you're facing world-class players at a venue, when they don't give up too many things, it's understandable that you're going to be difficult to find chances. But every single player gave it their everything. And he makes the point that Pierre, in that second half was so formidable. And I totally agree. So a massive shout out to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I also want to say another massive shout out, if I can, before we close this show, to Pedro Porro. Now, many won't, be... Well, many maybe would have forgot.
Porro came on early, didn't we? We did say earlier. I mean, he's magnificent.
Can I just say, this guy, under Ange, the coaching since he's coming under Ange from me, I think he's got better and better and better. And that sometimes we're in the midst of an injury crisis, you can forget just certain players that have really still put in performances week in, week out. And Porro, most certainly, has been one of those players. I think you've got to say, one of the most improved players under and Postecoglou.
And you talk about consistency, Rick, just quickly, I know you're moving on, but you talk about consistency. This guy is consistently good.
Yep.
I mean, he's a 7.5, maybe even an 8 every game now. And you couldn't say that when he made his debut against Leicester, got absolutely rinsed by Harvey Barnes. But I agree. I totally agree with you. He is a very good, and he loves it. He loves the badge. He loves us.
He plays well. He plays for the badge. Destiny Udoka, can I just say again, for Destiny, I think second half to have then been playing with a booking, given the fact of what happened in the Chelsea game, takes a lot of maturity. So
I love Destiny, mate. I love him, mate. I think he's superb.
And Brennan Johnson, I think, again, we have to give a massive, applause to. Assists for him, worked ever so hard. I think that partnership now we've got up front, the Kulusevski, the Sonny and the Brennan Johnson partnership, that's going to definitely, I think, flourish as we move into 2024. And, Brian Hill coming off. I think many will, again, gauge their verdict on Brian Hill. Cracks, bless him. We had a lovely moment where Cracks sent a lovely Spanish message to us after Spurs got the opener. And I just got to say, I want to play that out. For that moment alone, I hope Brian Hill still has a career at Tottenham because I think it's interesting to see how he'll mature over these next coming weeks. But look, we're going to finish it. Let's quickly go round to the panel. It's been a great, great show. Thank you so much, guys, for all your support. Cracks, look, we're at the start now of what's going to be a crazy build-up for Tottenham in these next few weeks. FA Cup coming into play as well. I must just add Spurs in the FA Cup. Week commencing the 5th of January. Burnley at home for Tottenham Hotspur.
Come
Massive
on.
Opportunity to go for the Cups. Cracks, close it for me from your perspective. What can we achieve now on the back of that today? The result for Tottenham, that point against City. See, Spurs sit currently in 5th place in the Premier League. They're 2 points off Villa in 4th. They're a point clear of Newcastle in 6th. What can we achieve, Cracks? As we close one for you.
Well, Rick, what can all the players and everybody buy into what Postecoglou's trying to do? Because we've spoken today about Brennan Johnson, who's 22 years old, and he looks like a monster. Can you imagine if we keep hold of him when he gets to 25, 26 years old? He's going to be something else, absolutely something else. Porro seems to be enjoying football under Ange Postecoglou. Everything, Sonny, Ange Postecoglou, he seems to be stepping up as a captain. Everything comes back to Ange Postecoglou. Now, I know I've had my say on maybe he needs to tone it down a little bit and maybe just find a different way. If he doesn't, fine. I'm all in on Ange Postecoglou. Everything at this club at the moment is knitted around Ange Postecoglou and what he can do. He is the planet that the moons are circling round. He is the gravitational force of Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. So I'm just asking everybody, buy in to what Ange is trying to do, because I believe in it. I hope you do too. I really, really hope you do too. I hope the board that write the checks buy into it too, because I really do think we've got something. I really do. And I'm begging Ange and the club, buy into the FA Cup, because we are going to fall short in the league. I don't think that's doable. I think we can get into the Champions League for sure. I absolutely do think that what we're doing in the league, we can get a Champions League spot, which is great, which is lovely. And we can all go Tuesday and Wednesday nights and enjoy the football. And we can do the show, or we can go to Paris, we can go to Madrid, and we can go on away days, and that's great. But I'm begging the club and I'm begging Ange, buy into the FA Cup. Please buy into it. I just want to see this club lift a cup under Ange Postecoglou. I really, really do. I want to see something on the honours list for this club with Ange Postecoglou's name next to it. That's all I ask, because I think he's special. I think he's absolutely special, Rick. He really, really is. And he deserves what the day he leaves Tottenham to come away with something where we go, do you know he won a set? He won a set. You've got to win something at this level. You've got to win something. League Cup, FA Cup, Europa Cup, Conference League Cup, Farmers League Cup, whatever it is, Champions League. You have to win something. Just something.
Yeah.
I want to see Sonny go up and lift a cup. I don't care what it is. I want to see a cup lifted for this club, because I think it just gives us everything. It just gives us something, because that's on the register. That's engraved. That's there in the history forever. Tottenham in 23, 24 won this. That's all I want to see.
And the demand will be cracks. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, but I think Ange deserves that. I think he really absolutely deserves something where he can come away and go, I won this club that, by the way, because you're never taking it away. Never, ever, ever, ever taking that away. So.
And this is why Crack many will be demanding you sing after all this. We're loving carrots instead. Crack, thank you so much, my man. Always love having you back. I love having Cracknell. Pat, let's come to you.
Thank you.
It feels like it could be a big point in our season, not just for the fruit nutritionists that are in, the vegetable nutritionists, Pat. How big could that point be, Pat, for us?
Huge, man, huge. And you know what? There's so many comments that come in. And I try and read through them, but obviously I'm focused on the stream as well. And there's a comment from Ryan. It said, "At Patrick, I'm a Celtic fan. I just want you to apologise for what you initially thought / believed about Ange. Please have some humility." So I'm like, how many times I've already addressed this, first and foremost? I'm fully bought into the Ange thing. At the end of the day, that's how I felt. It was within reason. I've gone over it a bazillion times now. Of course, I'm loving Ange. I'm fully behind him. If you want me to say sorry, I'll say sorry. I don't really understand why you want me to say sorry. But yeah, it's all good. And I love Ange Postecoglou, and I believe he's the right manager for us. I think you can already see the rest of the league are scared that how good he is and how quick he's transformed the players and the identity of the team. And there's so many good things about him. I've even bought his book. So like, there you go. The book, and I'm going to read this. I'm just finishing off Shoe Devil by Phil Knight, the Nike book, and then I'm going to get onto this. So yeah, I'm fully bought in. Like Lee was saying, I love the guy. I think he's a brilliant manager. I hope that Levy backs him. I think Levy stumbled upon a fantastic manager here. And if he does back him properly, then the sky is the limit. There's some good teams in the league. So obviously you've got Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, even Newcastle and Man United have won a trophy as well. We need to win something, like Cracker's saying, like the FA Cup. You know, Burnley at home. It's a Premier League fixture, so it's a Premier League team, so it's not as easy as it could have been. But we're at home. We are better than them. That's a game that we should take seriously, and I want to see us have a full crack at that. But yeah, the point was brilliant. It will give the guys belief that they can do what they're doing. Backs against the wall, depleted, second stringers in. And now we just got to push on. You know, I don't want us to do all of that and then, dare I say it, end up losing to West Ham or Newcastle. It's time to now start building, because other teams will drop points. It was frustrating because Liverpool almost lost. Aston Villa almost didn't pick something up. These guys still got results. So it's good that we kind of kept ourselves in touching distance of those guys or pushed ourselves away from Newcastle. And now it's time to start pushing up the league again. But yeah, I think it's an amazing point. I think it goes to show that even if players have an off day like a Bissouma or make a mistake, maybe like Ben Davies, it's a bit harsh on him to say he made a mistake. I know he could have tracked it, but we can still get something out of a tough game against a good team, and then we move on from there. So I'm really pleased with the performance. We could have done better as well, which is a good thing. But yeah, it's time to now push on. No more woe is me. Let's just get behind the guys and just move forward. Do you know what I mean? Like, Richarlison's back, that's a big plus. And yeah, we just keep building now.
Pat, thank you so much, my man. Always a pleasure having you on here. What a great show it's been. Macca, let's close it with you. Macca, you quoted it be a crazy train. You saying now you double down that it will be more crazier under Ange. God, what we've got to come. What we've got to come, Macca. It's going to be crazy, right?
Isn't it? It's a throwback to Martin Yole and Harry Redknapp days, up 7-4s versus Reading or whatever it was, and like 4-3s at Portsmouth and stuff. And look, and I think, you know, it's not just Tottenham, is it? It's Man City as well. They had a 4-4 the other week with Chelsea. And Liverpool today have just had a 4-3 with Fulham. Sorry for the spoilers if you don't know the result, to look away now. You know, that is the reality. The league is bonkers. You know, Ange ball is pretty bonkers, and I'm absolutely loving it. I've just done some statistics, right? And actually, we are ahead of where we were this time last season. Not by much, to be fair, but we are. Arsenal, Man City, they're behind where they were last season. Newcastle are way off where they were. They're 4-5 points, less than what they were this time last season. Liverpool have grown. They're like 8 points further ahead than where they were last season. Chelsea, well, still Chelsea, rubbish. So look, at the end of the day, it's true. So at the end of the day, I think we've got a massive opportunity now to build on this point. No one gave us a prayer that we were going to anything, and we got something today. We have to go and beat West Ham. We know it's their cup final, to be fair, and we're at home. And then we've got another game 4 days later against Newcastle. Is it 4 days later, 5, whatever it is, to go and put them to bed. And I'm confident because it's at home. We have to beat them at home. We make it come back to the fortress. I know we've lost at Chelsea and Villa at home under them circumstances, but I'm very, very confident if we play like we did against Villa versus West Ham, we'll beat them. And we have to get them 6 points, because going after them 2 games, we're on 2.25 points per game. That's 85.5 points total if you roll that across the rest of the season. That's our record points total right there. If we continue on the trajectory we are now, we're 73 points total. That gets us the top four, not top five. That will get us top four, and that's okay. But I think we're better than that based on the start that we had.
Yeah.
Look, if we can get a win against West Ham, that's all that we care about. West Ham want to beat us badly. I remember, I think it was their first game in our new stadium. I was thinking, yeah, I took my wife. It was great. She's not massively fan of football, but I took her and we lost 1-0 to an Antonio goal. And I was like, oh, for God's sake, that's classic Tottenham. Don't do that against West Ham. Turn up, do the business, smash them, and move on to Newcastle. And we've got, 4 days to wait to watch Ange ball again, and I'm buzzing for that. Come on, you Spurs.
It's a big weekend, so I can say, isn't it a massive difference what a minute and a half makes in terms of the mood, honestly. Guys, can I just say again, massive, massive thank you. The wonderful Crackers back. Cracks, mate, thank you so much. Make sure, again, Cracks got lots of Legends Nights coming for 2024 and beyond.
Oh, man.
Come on.
Very, very, very much. I'll fly back in on the 6th of December to the 15th. And I've got nights with Razor Ruddock, Harry Redknapp, Naeem. Yeah, I've got a good few nights coming up. So Pat Jennings as well on the 11th of December. Middies in Cockfosters, North London. Now, I don't want to get everybody too excited, but Ange Postecoglou lives half a mile down the road from Middies, and he goes in there for a bit of something to eat. So on the night that I've got Pat Jennings on Monday, the 11th of December, 1 or 2 people said Ange might pop in for a sandwich that night. If he does, I'll go and have a word with him. So if you haven't got a ticket for that already, come along, because I might even grab a word with Ange if he can come along. So, Rick, thank you very much. And 2024, by the way, wow, got some nights coming up. So watch your space. I'm saying nothing more. But Tottenham today, thank you. Thank you, Ange Postecoglou, for giving me something that looks like Tottenham again today. To dare is to do, and it's not the finished article, but boy, we really are very, very exciting to watch, aren't we? You're on the edge of your seat, like it's ebb and flow, and I'm loving Tottenham at the moment. I'm absolutely loving them. I nearly swore there. But it's just great. They are great to watch at the moment. If you can go to Man City, the champions, these absolute gods of football, apparently, 115 reasons why you might not think they are, but they are gods of football at the moment. And we've gone up there with half a team and done that. Thank you, Tottenham. I'm absolutely loving watching you. Loving watching you. And everybody that watches this show and gets involved, brilliant. Thank you.
Bless you, mate. Thank you so much, Pat. Thank you, mate. Honestly, we're in the midst of what's going to hopefully be a really, really decent journey ahead of us into 2024. Lots of Ange ball to come. Lots of hopefully historic, memorable games, Pat. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Big week now. We need to finish off strongly this week. 2 good teams, West Ham and Newcastle. Do the business, play like we've been playing, and I'm sure we'll get the results that we want. And yeah, all the fans go into the games. Make sure, like Cracker said, and Lee, I think it was, make the home ground a fortress. I'll see you up there if you're up there. And yeah, shout out to everyone in the comments. Shout out to everyone tuning in. Shout out to everyone watching this back. Like it, share it, subscribe. Yeah, last word on Spurs is nothing without you guys. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. And also, if you like me and my content, Chatty Patty podcasts are out. Follow me on YouTube, and yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say.
One of our own, TJ. One of our own.
TJ, my man. TJ is back with us on Thursday night. TJ, my man, we're going to see you very, very soon. Wonderful TJ Romini. Pat, thank you so much. Macca, thank you, mate. A long edition of Last Word on Spurs. We took to extra time. This is what happens, right?
That's what happens, mate. That's what happens. Look, absolutely fantastic. I'm back down the lane on Thursday. Cannot wait. after missing the beloved weekend. I think obviously with my singing, my prowess in singing, my didgeridoo playing skills that weren't there on Sunday is probably the reason why we lost. No, look, absolutely fantastic. I'm doing some good stuff now actually on weekends.
Macca,
yeah.
Macca, people have been asking in the comments for a bit of didgeridoo before you go tonight. Don't let them down. Don't let them down. Come on. Here we go.
Tell them what we got here.
When Becca does that, we're going to close this one from the wonderful Richard Cracknell, from the brilliant Patrick Tyrant, from the superb Mr. Lee McQueen. Guys, we've been the last one on Spurs. Thank you so much for all your love, all your support. We're going to see you Thursday night. Keep
Go on,
playing
Macca.
the Ange.
Do it again, Macca.
Come on, you Spurs.